Welcome, Wapham crew, guys, gals, ghouls, and otherworldly beings. Let's climb aboard the mothership, secure our tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your ghostess with the mostest, TessaTNT, and I am broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It is an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to have you hanging out with me tonight on the airwaves. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it, or working out, feel free to look me up under We Are Paradox Media at Spreaker.com or basically anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. I'm just checking my sound really quick. It looks like it's really low, but hold on there. I'm not on that end, so I'll just take it up to normal level right there. Yeah, that looks better. Let me know if it's too loud and I'll turn it down. But tonight we're doing it Trippy TikToks with me, TessaTNT, and there's some good stuff out there. And some crazy stuff. And some mind-blowing stuff. So let's get on into it.
Most people won't actually believe this, but some small percentage of people watching this will know this to be 100% true. The universe, if you're quiet enough, actually makes a certain frequency. And if you've ever been in, if you've lived your whole life in the city, you'll never have heard this. But if you've ever been out in the country and the power has been off and it's just absolutely silent, you'll actually hear this really quiet hum that is the sound of the universe. And if you listen carefully to that hum, it actually becomes deafening. And I think that's where one of those sayings comes from, the silence is deafening. Because if you are in absolute silence, and if you've never experienced this, please strive to do this. Go somewhere, experience total silence. Again, you can't do this in the city. But listen to the sound of the universe. And then from that point onward, life just isn't really the same. Once you're able to tune in, literally audibly to the universe, you start to understand how everything is just frequencies.
The Trump administration. And whenever I start off a video like that, wait.
Good night. So it's ringing, sometimes louder than others, sometimes at a higher pitch than others. Sometimes it sounds like there's a bunch of, I call them katydids, but, what are they really called? One time it went really low, all the way up to really high again. Pretty trippy.
Cannot be good. Decided that nursing, teaching, social work, physical therapy, and half the medical field are no longer considered professional degrees. Oh, you mean the people who literally keep this country from falling apart like a stale Nature Valley bar have now been demoted? Great! Just fucking great! Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, you know what fucking time it is, bitch. It's time for the daily scream. Great news. Theology made the cut as a professional degree. Yes, the study of God made the cut. Because that is somehow more professional than literally keeping people from dying on an operating table. And here's the kicker. Every single field they kicked off the list, female dominated. Nurses, 90% women. Teachers, mostly women. Social workers, 81 to 85% women. Gee, I wonder why why these magically became not professional enough. Oh, would you look at that? This is all a part of Trump's one big beautiful bill, where student loan limits got rewritten so professional degree students can borrow $50,000 a year, but everybody else, $20,000 and a pat on the back. The Department of Education even had the audacity to be like, this is the 1965 definition of a professional degree. Nurses were never included. Okay, and every major nursing association, social work association, medical workforce coalition, educators, occupational therapy groups, literally everybody has been begging the Department of Education to update this outdated definition. Why are we using a definition older than the colored TV to decide student loans in 2026? 260,000 nursing students right now will have their loan cap slashed. Programs are warning that this will worsen the nurse shortage. Gut rural care literally reduce the number of new nurses graduating each year. Why does this administration hate the people that quite literally hold this country together? Because guaranteed, if every nurse, teacher, and social worker got up and left their fucking job right now, this country wouldn't make it a fucking week. The people in charge of this country are actually so unbelievably stupid, and if you support their decisions, bitch, you are fucking too.
Being in the state of hypnosis isn't magic, but it is science. People think hypnosis is about control, but it's not. It's about suggestion, and the way your brain responds to it is pure science. When you're relaxed and focused, your brain waves slow down into a state called theta. That's when your subconscious becomes more open. It's the same state you naturally enter when you daydream, meditate, or drift off to sleep. In that state, your mind isn't asleep, it's programmable. And that's where suggestion creates change, not through force, but through focus. Follow for more ways to understand the science behind your subconscious.
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but there are people who are claiming that Teslas have the ability to detect spirits. Now, a story came out that there are several Tesla owners who claim that when they drive in a cemetery at night, their car can sense spirits. And actually on their little dash, there is some sort of detection if a person is near the vehicle. And when they go through the cemetery, they see people walking around when there's absolutely no one there. Now, there was one particular story that came out with a Tesla owner. This young man got a Tesla 3 years ago, and every night he would go and pick up his girlfriend. He would park right in her driveway. She lived in this very old farmhouse, and he would sit out there and wait for her. We said one night he was sitting in his car, and he had some music on. And that's when he looks down at the little screen, and he sees there's a person in front of his vehicle. Except when he looks out the window, there's no one there. And not only is there a person in front of his vehicle, he said it was really weird. It only had one leg. And he's like, well, it must be a glitch in the system. So this happened, on a couple more occasions. And even one night he gets out of his vehicle and he goes in front where it's showing this person is. And when he puts his hand right in this area, his ice cold. So he said one night he was talking to his girlfriend, and she goes on to tell him that, the house we live in, it was passed down from my grandfather. And he was in, like a combine accident, which took one of his legs. And so he only had one leg. And that's when it all clicked to him that he was seeing that one-legged person on the screen.
Amazing.
It's nice to hear your voice again. I've waited all day. Let's don't say goodbye.
My friends, I'm doing a car TikTok because I'm about to go into work. I was supposed to post yesterday starting our little brain thing, and if I'm honest, I said if I post all my things on here, I have to be honest about other things because you guys are amazing. You check on me. 80,000 of you is insane. I plan to do a giveaway soon. I just have been going through a lot of personal stuff on my end that has just, when I tell you it felt like my whole life last week went like this in every area, it just really did. And it's been tough. I was so pumped and ready to start posting about the brain and our little thing together because I'm going to do it with you. That's why I think I'm most excited, because I'm excited to see all of us grow and change in real time. But unfortunately, I'm just going to have to push it back. I've picked December 8th to do it with you. We're going to start Monday, December 8th. I go out of town this weekend, and just with everything that's gone on the past 2 weeks, it's just been, mentally, I've just been shot. I was pushing to push it out but I was like, no, I can't do that to myself. I can't force myself to do that. I still will drop my little nuggets of wisdom because obviously I read and study this stuff every waking moment I
love
can.
mugs. Oh, yes. Excellent.
Hello, I'm David Van Driesen, educator and also amateur folk singer. I'm up here on top of a mountain, as you can see, and there's something about that wonderful view that inspired me to write this song of nature. Okay. Mountains, they soar above. Okay, let me just tune this up here. This one is an open E, so it's very... This will just take a second. I'm sorry. Let me just... Mountains, mountains. Oh, I see. I need to get it higher. Just almost there. Mountains are just a little...
Oh, it's gonna pop.
Mountains, they soar above. Hello? I was tuning to the wrong octave and I snapped a string, which...
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
The magic school bus could be inside your ass right now and you'd have no idea. Hope it is.
Good morning, TikTok. It's your girl, Miss Henry. The one, the... Uh-oh. I'm covered it up. The one, the only, and his favorite. Good morning.
Santa's coming to town. Oh, my God. Santa here?
Santa's sitting in Scottsdale, Arizona.
I know him. Be here to take pictures with all the children.
Santa, look at him.
Happy fucking Halloween. As you can see, I lost my voice. But it's only right that I come back and post on Halloween. Update. I posted about my head. For right now, we're good. Fingers crossed. 2. Shit is still going on in my fucking house.
Why are you guys still living there?
Oh yeah, we got 2 new dogs. Because Petey and Tiberius, they passed over the summer. My cat died. This year's been fucking terrible.
I'll tell you.
So the other night, he has to go out. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I go, take him out, bring him in. My mom wakes up. She's like, what are you doing? It's mad late. I said the dog had to fucking go out. So I come back upstairs, hop in bed, about to go to sleep. It's like 3:30 now. And I hear somebody walking in my room. I turn and I look. And I'm thinking it's like my mom or my sisters. One of them. I'm like, what are you doing? It looks like a girl. Like, I could tell. They go into the bathroom, shut the door. Right? So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I go into the bathroom, turn on the light. Well, this light. I don't even have a light anymore. It doesn't work for some reason.
It kind of sounds like Shaggy from
Turn on
Scooby-Doo.
that light. Open the door. Well, open the door, turn on the light. Nobody's fucking in there. I literally just saw somebody fucking walk into the bathroom. I thought I was dreaming, bro. Like fucking pinching myself and shit. I'm up. The shit really fucking happened. I got so many other stories to update you guys with. I just can't right now because of this motherfucking voice. It's gone. My dog ran away, the other one. I was fucking screaming my head off, calling for him. Found the dog, but lost my voice. So just know, I'm fucking back. I've been saying I'm back. I've been dealing with mad shit. Dog's dying, the cat dying, the shit with my head. All this shit's been going on. This year's fucking been terrible, as I said.
2025.
So, be on the lookout. I'm back. Happy Halloween. Hopefully tonight isn't going to be fucked up, but I have a feeling it's going to be.
Man,
the Native Americans viewed the Northern Lights as spirits passing between worlds. Now, to them, it was sometimes considered a bad omen to see these lights, especially if there was a lot of red in the sky, because this meant that someone in their village would pass away. And the creepiest thing about the Northern Lights to them was probably that they believed there were a set of rules you must follow if you were to view the Northern Lights. Now, you were never to call to it, you were never to whistle or wave, you were to be respectful, or it could essentially take you away. Now, this story comes out of northern Wisconsin. There was this man named Jacob. Jacob said this one particular night, him and his buddies decided they were going to go out to this farm and view the Northern Lights. So they all get on their snowmobiles and they head off down this trail, which would take them to this big open farm. They get there about 8:30 at night and they park. They are sitting in front of where their snowmobiles are parked and they're looking up at the sky. And that's when they started to see just these beautiful lights, floating and dancing. And it was just this amazing sight. Now, they had all heard from their grandparents stories of that you should never whistle when you're looking at the Northern Lights. And one of them starts whistling and all of them start to laugh. And they just thought it was a joke. But they said that's when all of a sudden, all of their snowmobiles turned on by themselves. The lights came on and the engine started. And they're like, what is going on? And all of these snowmobiles, they start going haywire. The lights are flickering. The engine's going off and on. The engine is revving by itself. And they can't figure out, what was going on. So they said that's when they looked up in the sky. And it almost appeared as if these lights were forming some kind of hand. And they were coming closer and closer towards them. So they jump on their snowmobiles. And they start speeding off down this trail. And they said as they're going down this trail, they began to be chased by something. They said they really couldn't describe what it was, but they could feel it. And it followed them all the way out of this farm. They get home that night, and Jacob goes to bed. And he said at 2 a.m, he wakes up to the radio in his room, turning on by itself. And he said there was this really creepy lullaby that was playing. And he said he couldn't figure out how this thing had turned on because he never used it and he didn't even know if it was plugged in. And the next day, he talks with his friends and they all that night had a same encounter. And he said within the next couple of months, 2 of those friends passed away in accidents. He said that there was a fire in his town. He said that his grandmother, his aunts all got sick. And he felt like it was because they disrespected the Northern Lights.
And whatever happened?
Oh, so the spooky boo's baby.
Totally
It's
yours.
so cute.
Also worth it.
Good morning, TikTok. It's your girl, Miss Henry, the one, the only, and his favorite. Y'all, Monday morning, and it's a cool morning.
So the Coast Guard, under Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, a woman who looks like if white fear-mongering became sentient, just changed their official policy so that swastikas and nooses are no longer considered hate symbols. Now they're considered potentially divisive. Bitch, potentially divisive? Potentially divisive is like everybody's opinion on pineapple on pizza. A swastika, the literal logo of the Holocaust, the symbols tattooed on the arms of people who murdered millions, is now in the same category of bringing up astrology on the first date. Clearly, something is very fucking wrong with Kristi Noem. Like, she's missing something up here, a gear isn't turning, because this isn't the first time she's done shit like this either. She's been called out multiple times for making racial based decisions, including shutting down the DHS's entire Office for Civil Rights and Liberties. Like, the bitch straight up eradicated the Civil Rights Department. Like, bitch, are you reading straight out of Hitler's Mein Kampf, or are you actually this much of a diabolical evil bitch? And now the Coast Guard, the same Coast Guard that in 2019 arrested a white nationalist officer who was plotting to kill Nancy Pelosi, is like, maybe we were too harsh on swastikas. If the US government can't look at a swastika, a symbol we lost 400,000 American soldiers fighting, and simply call it a hate symbol, then the main problem isn't the symbol, it's the people in charge who are protecting literal Nazis.
Our brain values safety and familiarity.
You're probably familiar with the term 6'7" because it has become this popular trend amongst the younger generation. But a lot of people don't realize that 6'7" has been often associated with paranormal encounters. Now, there was a woman named Molly. Molly said that her son picked up the trend of saying 6'7", and he would say 6'7" after everything. And eventually it got to the point where she was annoyed. So she tells her son, you can say it at school, you can say it around your friends, but I do not want to hear you say it around me. So she goes home one day and she is sitting in the living room. She started to hear her son saying 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". So she got up, she walked into her son's room and she said, what's going on? Like, I told you not to say that number anymore. Like, it's annoying, please stop. And her son's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I did not say that. She's like, okay, whatever, just don't say it anymore. A couple days later, she is sitting in the living room again, and she sees a shadow go by. And she starts hearing 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", over and over again. So she gets up, she goes to her son's room, and she's like, I told you, stop saying that. Like, it's annoying, please stop. And once again, her son pleads with her, like, I did not say that. So it keeps happening over and over again. And this one particular day, she comes home from work, she goes into the kitchen, and on the refrigerator, there are these letter magnets. And she discovers that spelled out on the fridge with these magnets is 67DIE. So she runs into her son's room immediately and she's like, okay, this has got to stop. Like, it is getting crazy. Like, you need to stop saying this word and like stop messing around because it's not funny. And once again, he says, Mom, I promise you I'm not doing this. So she grounds him. Later that night, she's in bed and she turns over and she looks out at the doorway. She sees her son standing in the doorway and he's just staring at her. And she's like, okay, yeah, can I help you? And he turns around, walks down the hallway. So the next morning she asks her son, what did you want? Why did you come to my room? And he's like, Mom, like, I didn't do that. Like, that, I don't know what you're talking about. A couple weeks after this, she is in the kitchen. And all of a sudden her son comes through the kitchen door, stands right by her, and he looks at her. But that's when she realizes, like, her son looks completely different. Like, something is off about him. And that's when he started to say 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". And his voice got deeper and deeper and sort of darker as he said that. And she starts screaming because she's terrified. She knows this isn't her son. Her son comes running out of his bedroom into the kitchen. She grabs him, embraces him, and is like, look, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. And I know that it wasn't you saying that number. So she tells him, like, what had happened. And they both agreed that that number would never be mentioned again in their house.
That's good. Story time with Dr. Beavis and Dr. Butthead.
Lummath the Dumbass by Dr. Beavis and Dr. Butthead. Because Dr. Seuss sucks. Way down in the land of Ziggity Zutthole, there lived a guy who was kind of a butthole. He was a weird-looking guy whose name was Lummath. He sucked. He was a real dumbass. Lummath the Dumbass sat around and ate smachos, which was a food pretty much exactly like nachos. Lumass knew a chick in the hood named Zanctus Zunky. She gave him wood, so he spanked his monkey. Yeah. She had an even hotter friend named Zoing. Lumass took one look at her and said, boing. And there was this other hot chick whose name was Juthead. And she was like, I want to score with Butthead. She lived in a town called Schmeevis Blux. Yeah, that's a cool name. Where everyone liked to say, Beavis sucks. Hey, wait a second, who wrote this? Hey, what happened to the part about me scoring and drinking Glears? What are Glears? They get you drunker than beers.
You have to leave. You can't keep coming back in here.
Can we at least use the computer to look at some websites?
Get out!
This sucks. Yeah, my tax dollars pay for this library.
This is really creepy. Last night in Long Beach, California, we had an elderly woman who had a strange encounter with something she can't explain. Now, I don't know exactly what it is, but it definitely is eerie. At around 9:55 p.m. last night, this woman at her home in Long Beach said she had let her dog outside into the backyard. Now, it was a small yard, it was a fenced-in area, and she had went inside to take a phone call. After the phone call was done, she said it was maybe 15 minutes or less, she goes back outside. She notices the dog is barking at something on the other side of this picket fence. So as she approaches it, she said she sees something standing on the other side. It is on all fours. She said it looked like a person that was kind of crawling around near the fence, and it was making some sort of hissing or clicking sound at the dog, and it was causing the dog to go crazy. So she gets closer to the dog and she says, come on, like, get inside now. She said as it was alerted to her presence, this thing sort of took off. And she said as it took off, she could tell that it had these bright red colored glowing eyes. And she said, as far as she could tell, it ran off out into the neighbor's yard and then took off into the street. She did not see where it went, but she said she definitely felt like this was something not human, nor was it an animal. And she said it was about as big as a person, probably around 6 to 7 foot tall. And she couldn't make out any sort of identifiable characteristics, but she said it definitely did sort of look human.
I've been reading too many romance books. I just went through a self-checkout. When I was done checking out, it said, please tell us how we did today. And in front of people, I went, you're a good girl. I said that out loud. Go home.
I'm having my greatest crash out of my life, and I need you all to sit here, and you're going to be like, why are we talking about Edgar Allan Poe? And I'm going to tell you why we're talking about Edgar Allan Poe. I was sitting in class last week, and my professor brings up Edgar Allan Poe. At the end of the discussion, he brings up a Eureka prose poem, and he says that it's like a write-off, like nobody looks at it because he was like a little woo-woo crazy. I type it in, and I open the page, and I didn't even have to read it, and I knew that Edgar Allan Poe knew, and that was what was written down on that fucking page. Peyton, why is this important? Oh, I'll tell you why this is important, because it aligns beautifully. When I say beautifully, I mean beautifully with the Gospel of Mary and the Gospel of Thomas, and I will tell you at the end why that is so important. He presented a cosmological theory that anticipated the Big Bang before the Big Bang was even discovered by science. It was discovered 70 years later after Edgar Allan Poe wrote this. Why is that important? Because he talked about a primordial particle that expanded into a universe of stars and matter, theorizing that everything comes back to source, to one. He says here, as I am of the irretrievably bygone fact that all things and all thoughts of things with all the ineffable multiplicity of relations sprang at once into being from the primordial and irrelative one. Let not the merely seeming irreverence of this idea frighten our souls from the cool exercise of consciousness, from that deep tranquility of self-inspection through which alone we can hope to attain the presence of this, the most sublime of truths, and look it leisurely in the face. Line 49 from the Gospel of Thomas, for you have come from it and you will return to it again. Line 2, those who seek should not stop seeking until they find, and when they find, they will be disturbed. When they are disturbed, they will marvel and will rule over all. Mary, all nature, all formations, all creations exist in and with one another, and they will be resolved again into their own roots. For the nature of matter is resolved into the roots of its own nature. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Why is this important? The Book of Mary and the Book of Thomas were written in 2nd and 3rd century CE, but they were not published to the world until around 1955. When did Edgar Allan Poe write this? In 1848. He wrote what they knew. The people that walked with Jesus knew. He called it his magnum opus. If you don't know what that means, it is the greatest writing a writer could put out, and nobody knows about it. Nobody talks about it, and if they do, they write it off. You write it off, you write it off. But what's so interesting is, how does this man from 1848 write the same exact thing from the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary that was written thousands of years ago? How does that get written off? Tell me. But not only that, you guys, how does this story almost align identically with what Mary and Thomas spoke about, yet everybody still chooses to believe Paul, the man that's writings came first to the New Testament, that never met Jesus, that never walked with Jesus? How do we do that? How do we keep having the same story over and over again from different people presented to us, but we don't believe it?
That's why.
Fuck that.
That's why it's got to be repeated over and over and over again. Eventually, hopefully, you'll get it.
Whoa. You work from home? So you, like, live at your job?
Right. So it's important that it's quiet so I can work.
Then it's a good thing you live at your job and not downstairs, because these weights probably make a lot of noise.
Just please stop with the noise.
Did you hear that, Beavis? That butthole lives at his job. You lucky son of a bitch. We have to live in this apartment that sucks. Yeah, really. It's a mess. No one ever does anything about it. Yeah. It didn't look like this when we moved in. Somebody pulled a fast one on us.
I'm gonna love you.
Our president, a man who looks like a melted Build-A-Bear dipped in butter, got online today and said that Democrats calling out his illegal orders are committing seditious behavior punishable by death. Punishable by death! Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, and you know what fucking time it is, bitch. It's time for the Daily Scream. Trump said Democrat lawmakers, who, mind you, are veterans, former CIA, former Navy, people who have actually served this country, something that shit-filled diaper coward has never done, should be arrested, put on trial, and yes. One of the posts he reposted said, hang them. George Washington would. Sir, George Washington wouldn't hang anybody. If anything, he'd hang you up, bitch. And this all started because 6 Democratic lawmakers sent out a 90-second video simply reminding service members that they should not follow illegal orders. You know, the actual law, what the Constitution tells you to do, the thing every service member is supposed to do. This is insanity. And Democrats are freaking the fuck out, as they should be, because this is an outright threat from the president. The president is calling for the execution of elected officials. Meanwhile, we got the White House press secretary, Caroline Levitt, out here trying to spin it like, no, he wasn't saying execute them. He was just saying their actions might be punishable by law. Babe, he literally typed out the word death in all caps. And the lawmakers he threatened are now getting extra Capitol Police escorts because the president literally has a band of unhinged cult members that will do whatever he says. This isn't normal. This isn't politics. This is the president of the United States threatening to kill people in Congress because they told the military to follow the law. And of course, we have Republican leaders out here defending this sociopath. So y'all stay safe, stay protected. And I usually don't do this, but I actually ordered a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution off the TikTok shop. So God forbid you don't know your rights and you want to, maybe get one of these. I'll link it below. Because currently our government is being held together by a hairpin and CVS duct tape.
Yeah.
Come be the man I need. Tell me you got something to give. I want it.
Woke up this morning at my grandma's house and I saw a cornfield through the window. I said, Grandma, can I go play in that cornfield? And she said, you can do whatever you want, you're like 21. I went in a cornfield today. I went in a cornfield
There's something much worse than a Wendigo. Now, that is called a Wechuge. Wechuge is a old Native American legend from the Pacific Northwest up into Canada. They are these terrifying cannibalistic creatures, essentially the cousin to the Wendigo. Now, the Wechuge is a creature that represents someone who has been cursed. Often, these beasts are a result of someone who craved the power of the Great Spirit animal, but it couldn't control it. And it was turned into a Wechuge as punishment. Now, they also believed that one could become a Wechuge if they were to break some sort of taboo of their culture. If they were photographed, if you even spoke the name of Wechuge, you could essentially be cursed to become this creature. Now, this story comes from the 1800s in the Pacific Northwest. There were these 4 loggers, and they happened to find themselves caught in the middle of this horrible snowstorm. So they managed to find this old abandoned cabin, and they took refuge inside. So they build a fire and they get some soup going, and they sit around and they eat. Well, they could hear the winds howling and hitting the house. They could see the snow just coming down outside, and it was just this terrible blizzard. So eventually, they all 4 go to bed. They lay down and fall asleep. In the middle of the night, one of the men in the group, he wakes up, and when he looks over, he notices the front door is open. And he could see the wind blowing the trees, and he could see a breeze coming in through the door, moving it. But he couldn't hear it. It was completely quiet. So he gets up and he walks over to the door and he looks outside and he can see there's this blizzard going on, but he cannot hear nothing at all. It is completely quiet. So he goes and he wakes up the other guys and he says, like, hey, there's something going on. Like, I cannot hear anything outside, even though there's this big storm. And all the men, they go to the door. And as well, they couldn't hear anything. It was just completely still and quiet. That's when they started to hear a young girl crying. And as they looked out into the snowstorm outside the cabin, they see a small little figure approach. And as it came closer to the cabin, into the light of the fire, they could see it was a small girl. And she was wearing just some sort of Native American fur coat. She has no shoes, no socks, no feet coverings. She's completely barefoot. And she's walking in the middle of the snowstorm. So they run out to her and they say, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? Are you all right? And they bring her into the cabin. Well, they start trying to talk to her, like, what are you doing out in the middle of a snowstorm? Like, where are you from? Where are your parents? But she doesn't speak any English. So they get her some soup and they get her to bed, and she lays down and falls asleep. So they start talking amongst themselves, like, where did this girl come from? Like, who is this? Like, there's no Native American tribes around in this area. So eventually they all go back to bed. And in the morning, that same man who had woken up and found the door open, he wakes up to the cabin being ice cold. And when he looks over, the fire in the fireplace has gone out. And all of the men that were with him have been mutilated. Their blood, their guts are everywhere, all over this cabin. Something has attacked them. And this little girl is nowhere to be found. So the man gets up and he starts looking for this girl. And when he goes outside the cabin, he finds sort of this trail of blood spots. And he finds these tiny little footprints. And they are leading out into the forest. So he follows them. And he gets into the woods. And he said that's when he sees this little girl. And she is covered in blood. And she is dragging something along. It's one of the men that was with him in the cabin. And that's when he sees this young girl transform into this 7-foot tall, hideous creature that was just skin and bones and had very large antlers, big red eyes, sharp, jagged yellow teeth, and these long, dangly fingers. And it is covered in sort of ice. And it's dragging this man off into the woods. And it lets off this terrifying scream. About a week later, this man is discovered. And he is found by a couple fur trappers. And when they find him, he's in a very bad state. So they bring him back to this trading post. And after several days, they nurse him back to health. When he gets his strength back and he's able to walk around, he is at this house. He leaves the house and he goes to this sort of local pub gathering space. And when he goes inside, there's a Native American man with this young girl. And as he looks at the young girl, he recognizes her as the creature he had seen in the woods.
Hey! I heard you're going on a book tour. Yeah, how'd you know I haven't posted about it? You can post right now. This could be it. I read it. What'd you think? That's great, bro. I love bitches with fangs. Sick, nice, yeah. Can you sign this? I'm really excited to meet everyone. I get to hug them and kiss them and write in their books and not kiss them, that'd be weird. Bite them, nope. Weirder.
If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody.
You wanna be a girl so bad. You will never be a fucking girl, bitch. You is a sir.
Excuses for your failures only aids the continuation of them. So when you fail, just take it to heart, change your habits, and change your future. Stop failing and blaming somebody else. It's your fault. Fix it and move on.
Accountability.
Spiritual awakening reality. Bitch, this shit is hard. This shit is hard. And it's funny because when I posted the video of me crying, I was on cloud 9 for 2 months straight. I swear to you, I couldn't even walk outside without crying because I was cracked out on whatever spiritual shit I was on. And I still have many of those days. But now, as I've looked into this, people talk about integration and how you have to integrate. And people were commenting on my video and they were saying, oh, get ready because the work just started. I was like, baby, listen, I've done a lot of internal work. I have worked on me so hard. Oh no, they were not joking. Yesterday I was on cloud 9. Cloud motherfucking 9, okay? I'll say to God, I talk to God all day long. And one of the things I say is, why do synchronicities from God always show up to me? Why do signs that I'm on the right path from God always show up to me? Bitch, I walked into work, okay? Listen here. I walked into my job and my signs are 3 of them, a hummingbird, pink roses, and a butterfly, okay? Specifically a yellow butterfly. My first lady that sits down at my job has a tattoo of a hummingbird on a pink rose, okay? Okay, great. I was like, no way. And I had to say something. I was like, oh my gosh, I love your tattoo. I was like, it's very significant. It's very meaningful to me. And she's like, oh, thanks. I'll show you this one too because it's also my favorite. She literally turns her shoulder. Guess what was on her arm? A butterfly. And I was like, no mother trucking way. So that happened. And there were a few other things that happened. But then today I woke up anxious. I'm like this. No, I don't want it. Take it away. But then I have to say to myself, as I've looked into this and what teachers and people talk about, is you have to integrate. And so maybe one day is really great. This day isn't bad because it doesn't look good on paper. It just means you're moving through these systems and letting them move through your little body. So if you're having a shit day, don't beat yourself up. Ooh, better lighting. Don't beat yourself up. I'm here. I'm rooting for you. We're doing it. We're in it together. Bye.
Hello, I'm Tom Anderson, veteran of 2 foreign wars. But today, Marcy and I are on vacation here at this beautiful beach resort in Mexico, right there on the edge of the Sonora Desert. It is our first vacation in 15 years, what with being on a fixed income from a military pension, and it is a relaxing one, I tell you what.
Beavis, let's kill that guy. Yeah!
But no part of it was quite as relaxing as what happened this morning at the breakfast buffet. I approached what appeared at a distance to be ordinary waffles. What the hell?
Like eat nails or something. Yeah, courtesy of the USA, you son of a bitch!
Take that, you bastard!
Hey! Hey, cut it out. Ow. Hey, stop!
There now. What was I talking about, Marcy? Right. Now, these waffles had a little surprise in them called chocolate chips. And one other secret ingredient. But that's a tale for the next Tom Anderson's Vacation Stories. Por favor, un otro.
Aw, Supreme Court won't reconsider Obergefell to bail out Kentucky clerk who denied same-sex marriage licenses. Kim Davis owes $360,000 in legal fees for refusing to issue same-sex marriage licenses under God's authority. Kim Davis faces crippling legal fees after Supreme Court defeat. Aw, what a shame. Honestly, what a shame.
Baby, I love doing life with you. You're everything I wanna wake.
Mandela effect is 100% real. Now,
yes, it is.
Thousands of people have had an experience where they encounter something from their past and it is completely different than they remember it. Now, there was this man named Billy. Billy was from Indiana. And when he was younger, he grew up in this very small town. He was friends with this man named David. And he said him and David, they would hang out and play all the time. But then one day they got into a very big argument. And for several years, they did not speak to each other. And then one day he finds out that David has passed away. He was in an accident. He fell off a bridge into the river and drowned. No. And he was very distraught by this, and it really bothered him. And the whole town was talking about it. So fast forward 30 years, Bill is still living in the same town. But one day he goes to a high school reunion. And as he's at this reunion, he sees this man walk in. And this man has this eerie sort of presence to himself, and he seems like he knows this person. And this man walks over to Bill and he says, "Hey, how are you doing? Do you remember me?" And he says, "No, I don't know who you are." And he said, "Well, I'm your friend David. We used to hang out all the time, and we had an argument, but now that I'm older, I think it was ridiculous." Bill says, No, you passed away. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be here.
You did.
And he goes, "What are you talking about? I never passed away. I moved to New York." And everyone at that reunion, they thought that he had passed away. So they were surprised to see David. Bill still was certain that he remembered he passed away in this accident 30 years ago. So he went to the library and he did a bunch of research, except he couldn't find anything to document that this actually happened. But he said, wait, there was this memorial. And I remember it was right by the bridge where he fell off. So he goes to the bridge and he can find no memorial. There is nothing there. And there's nothing to this day that says that that even happened to David.
Oh my God, it's dark! I don't like it!
Okay, you guys, we're doing a sunset meditation tonight, and it's gonna just be simple in terms of just coming straight back to.
There was this college student named Garrett. Now, Garrett was on summer break, and he was concerned about paying for his senior year of college.
Okay, so this says, welcome to Alaska. Did you know that it's going to be dark in Alaska until sometime in January? It's crazy. I don't know if I could handle that.
So he happened to stumble upon an ad in the newspaper that said, come to Alaska, make a bunch of money, and then go home. Well, it was an ad to go work at a cannery up in Alaska. So he decided maybe that's a good idea. I'll go there for the summer, make enough money, and be able to pay for my senior year. So he boarded a plane to Washington, and then he hopped on a ferry to Anchorage, Alaska. Now, when he gets to this cannery, they have a spot where they have these rooms for these people working at the cannery to stay in. And he decided he would rather stay at this campground where it was also offered if you wanted to camp. You could camp there and live while you worked for the cannery. So he pitches his tent and everything, and he ends up making friends with a few of the guys that are going to work there at the factory. Every day, it was long and hard, and he couldn't get that smell of fish, off of him. Oh, yeah. But he managed to make it through the day, and he knew that this money was going to go for a good cause. Well, late at night, after they got out of work, he said they would all meet at the campground, and they would have big fires, and basically have like a, huge party. Well, he's at one of these parties and everyone's, drinking, having a good time. He, all of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, sees this really cute Native American girl. And he said something just seemed off about her because she didn't look like she was part of this group that worked at the factory. So he walked over to her and said, "Hi, I'm Garrett," and introduced himself. And she said, "My name is TessaTNT." And he said, "Do you work at the cannery?" And she said, "No, I just live around here." He said, "Oh, that's nice." And he said she was really quiet. She didn't say much. But she seemed very enamored with him and would follow him around that whole night while they were having a party. So every night, TessaTNT would show up to these parties, and they kind of got to know each other really well. And she, like I said, wouldn't say much, but she would just stare at Garrett. Well, towards the end of their work thing, these parties started to grow bigger and bigger and kind of out of control. And this particular night, they were having a big party. Everyone was pretty well intoxicated. And some of the guys that Garrett worked with, they started harassing this moose. When TessaTNT seen this, she just kind of gasped and, was very panicked. So Garrett tries to intervene, and he is like, basically beaten up by these guys. Fast forward later on in the night, he now finds this moose, and, it is in pretty bad shape. So he knew, I must, put it out of its misery. So he, takes the life of this moose. And he said the whole time when he did this, TessaTNT just stared at him. On his last day of work, they were in the cannery when one of the guys had an accident and actually cut his hand off. So they had to shut down the factory, and they were like, "That's it for the season. You guys can leave. Here's your pay." And so he knew he wasn't going to see TessaTNT anymore. So he asked her, "Well, I'll stay one more day, and maybe you can show me where you live." So he meets TessaTNT that next day, and she takes him far out into the wilderness. And he said, there was nothing around. He was expecting, some kind of village, maybe, or a town, but they were just, in the middle of the woods. And she says, "Look, up there." And he looks up, and there's just this big mountain peak. And she said, "They call that the sleeping lady in my tribe, and they believe that one day she will awake." And she started to go on and tell him about this legend of the mountain, and he didn't really understand why, but he was kind of I'll listen to her. And after that, he said TessaTNT just kind of disappeared into the woods. So he managed to find his way back and gets a ride into town. He gets on a plane out of Anchorage and heads to Washington and then heads back home. Well, many weeks had passed, and he was thinking about TessaTNT. And this one day, he gets a letter in the mail. And it just has his address, but it doesn't have a return address. When he opens the letter, it's simply one sentence. It said, "I'm coming for you." And then the name TessaTNT.
Well, that's not creepy at all. On that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have King Cinnamon from, I want to say Biafra, Nigeria. It's Ghana, but I think it's Nigeria. Biafra, Nigeria, with Fantastic and Al Emote Arabella. Then we have Hosni Bronx, who hails from the Bronx of New York, as well as originally Jamaica with Dance as a Lion. And then from Ghana, South Africa, we have Nonye Toria. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
We swap on the beat.
Like no water, bam bam. King Cinnamon. Oh yeah, baddest. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Know your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Put your brother, baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you better, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, brokotom. I like the way you want your brokotom. Baby girl, brokotom. I like the way you want your brokotom. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Please me, baby. Yeah. Turn up from you. Yeah. Shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum if it's a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum if it's a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Give me love, give me love. Show me love, show me love. Oh, give me love, give me love. Me want you, me love you. Give me love, give me love. Oh, give me love, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Oh. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bum bum anywhere you day. Play your bum bum it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. King Cinnamon. You know what I'm saying?
We spot on the mix. Cliff it all.
chant the word people in love. People in love. People in love. People in love. Yeah. Humanity won't protect humanity. We have to set people from poverty. We don't want your frustration. We don't want your ambush Babylon.
We swap on the beat.
Ka anyị kelee Chineke makwa n'ala Imo bụ ndị njem ọnụ. Ka anyị kelee onye nwe ụwa ịmakwa n'ala Imo bụ ndị njem ọnụ. Imo, ala Imo ekerele, ala Imo, ala Imo ekerele, ala Imo steeti, ala Imo ekerele, ala Imo, ala Imo ekerele, ala Imo steeti, ala Imo ekerele, ala Imo, ala Imo ekerele. Democracy emeriela. Meriela alimo, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo, alimo state, alime kerelo, alimo, alime kerelo. Democracy meriela, ndime meriela, alika marama, ebere marama, oba no marama, first lady marama, her excellency, emeka idio hamma, emeka idio hamma, omenga unanya idio hamma. Emeka make him modima. Emeka make him modima. Emeka put on no boy. Oh yeah. Wa wulenu. Emeka put on no boy. Walk on madima. We me wem potso. Emeka make him modima. Emeka make him modima. Ndem jemano, deputy governor Imo State Chilike, Gerard Ronna Karaka, Wokomadima, Warabo, deputy governor Wile Deregima, Alukuta Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Onya Jemano, Stanley Wamuche Karaka, Stanley Onya Babamba, President Good Life Foundation Chilike, President General, Senate Group of Companies, President General, Financial Matter Karaka, Aloe Deregima, Alambise Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Onya Jemano, Franklin Neji Shirike, Meme Arabido Hotels, ABC Transport Karaka, Aloe Deregima, Alambise Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Uchonya go chandem, Honorable Wokomadima, Onye Horo Yakeleni Yao, Mawugi, Ginando Tugio, Mawunule, Njigarichinala, Imo State, Mawugi, Ginando Tugio, Mawunule, Minigalizonala, Imo State, Aloe Deregima, Aloe Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, the German, Orange Drugs Limited, Jisa Anthony Ifani Chukun to business and Ishirike, Ikenga di Chele, pride of his people, most outstanding one, Okoma Marama, Iborabo, Aloe Deregima, Alija Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Honorable Jobagu Shirike, Honorable Bina Shirike, Jera Labosa Shirike, Tochukwa Kereke Shirike, Okahu Beshirike, Intina Benina Shirike, Onyamana Construction, Rock, Wokomadima Ikaraka, Onya Shiwale Heborani, Detebu Imaramao, Wokomande Jem. na kumpa ikaraka ezi wa mama Mr. Ludiriwa Moko Mejejemba CEO Elizabeth Ventures ikaraka democracy merielo ndi me merielo democracy merielo ndi me merielo alime gerelo Thank God I'm from Imo State Emeka has come to rejuvenate Imo State make you jubilate make you celebrate Emeka shipwen be say this one no be say them say Emeka has come to rejuvenate Imo State celebrate make you jubilate Ala mekele His Excellency Achikudenwa mekele kwa His Excellency Dr. Hakim Kemaka Right Honorable BDK mekele kwa Right Honorable Jones Oyereri Ala mekele Senator Onyebuchi Mr. Empowerment mekele kwa Right Honorable Emeka Chinedu Umo mimo lowali bia na Alima de Lama
Cliffito. She know. She know me treat her better than her man. But she a worry about the millions. You love me for true, but certain things in life I say I want to do. Ay. So you say me need to understand that you are made for a money man. But if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper. Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. You say I love him, but I love you more. He took me shopping sprees and bought me finer, but a girl needs more. You're the one that gave me proper loving. He might have all the money, everything to satisfy me vanity, but in my heart I knew you were the only one that I would be loving from now till the end of time. Don't love me later, when my later is much greater. It only proves that you love the paper, my paper. Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. Girl, I know you want stability, but that no mean say you fi sell your soul for vanity, no. Bright lights, fast cars at the city, and the fast lane make you lose your sanity. But me can't believe you sell yourself so short. Forget the money you will make, man, break your parts. But your life make your choice because me now make you break my heart, no. If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper. Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper. Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. I wanted to learn the hard way, so I'm taking you to lover school. You want money just for party, girl. You take me for fool. Every piece of my heart I gave away, I gave it away to you. Why don't you understand, babe? What I feel for you is true. So if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper. Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. Now, trafficator, that.
Oh my goodness, that was an awesome music break there. I don't know that, but I really enjoyed it. So last time we were doing following, but it seemed like it was the same 3 pages repeatedly, so I'm gonna shoot for the For You page. Let's see what happens there.
There's something much worse than a Wendigo. Now that is called a Wachuge.
Yeah, here it is.
Wachuge
Yeah.
is Thanksgiving is a time when people get together. It's also a time when creepy things happen.
Yeah.
Now, this story takes place in eastern Tennessee. There was this man named Alan. Alan said when he was young, he remembered being at his grandfather's. And so one day, this man came over to his grandfather's house. He was dressed in all black with these snake cowboy boots and this jewelry and this huge necklace that had an amulet on it. And said his grandfather told him, go to your room right now. So he went into his room. But he eavesdropped on his grandfather and this man's conversation. And this man began saying to his grandfather, if you ever cross me, if you ever do anything wrong, I have the ability to turn into something else. I can become an animal, and I will come after you. Now, he thought this conversation was very strange, but after many years, he forgot about it. Fast forward several years down the road, he goes back to his grandfather's house for Thanksgiving. Now, all the adults, they are cooking food, they're talking, and so him and his cousin Jimmy, they decide they're going to go out in the woods and play. So they go into the woods behind his grandfather's house. As they're going out the door, his grandfather grabs him and says, hey, you boys be careful out there. If you see something, if you hear something, you run back to the house. And they said, okay, Grandpa. They didn't know why he was telling them that. It's as if he was scared of something. So they make their way into the woods, and they go pretty deep. It's about an hour now since they've left the house, and they find themselves very far in this forest. That's when they come across this very old cabin. It is run down, it is overgrown, and it looks like it's been there for a very long time. So they go inside, they open the door, and when they enter into this place, the first thing that they notice is there's food on the table. There's clothes hanging up. There are personal items. And there is a stack of these fur pelts of various different animals.
Yes.
So Alan says to Jimmy, I think that someone lives here. Like, someone is staying at this place. I don't think we should be here. Like, we need to leave. And Jimmy's like, yeah, you're right. Let's get out of here. So they go out the door, they get on the porch, and they run off towards the woods. But they are stopped in their tracks because standing outside of this cabin, about 15 feet away, is this very large deer. And it is staring directly at them. They're both confused because normally deers in this area would be spooked and they'd run off. But this deer stood its ground. And they both got a very bad feeling about this animal. So they took off running as fast as they could, all the way back to their grandfather's house. Well, they go inside, they eat dinner, and after a couple hours, they kind of forget about what happened. Later that night, they are asleep in one of the bedrooms. And Jimmy is sitting there talking to Alan. And he's like, hey, that was kind of weird, that deer we seen earlier. And he's like, yeah, I don't know where, it came from. It just came out of nowhere. Right as they're talking about this, they see a shadow move past the window. Jimmy's like, what was that? And Alan's like, I don't know. So they both walk slowly over to the window. And when they look out, they see a coyote in the yard. And it's staring at them with these bright yellow eyes. And then it just disappears. And they have no idea where it went. But then they hear a thump, thump, thump up on the roof. Something is up there, and it's walking around. And then they hear this loud howl. And it scares both of them. They start screaming, Grandpa, Grandpa. The grandfather comes running in the bedroom. What's wrong? What's wrong? They tell their grandfather what they've seen and what happened to them that day. The grandfather looks at them and says, it's just the wind. Go back to sleep. So they both lay back in their beds. The grandfather goes out the room. About 5 minutes later, they hear boom, 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 someone knocking on the door. And they hear the grandfather's footsteps go, and they hear someone come in. Then they hear this man's voice say, what were your boys doing on my property? Were they snooping on me? Like, why did you have them over there? And his grandfather's like, no, they're young. Like, they were just playing around. They didn't mean to come, on your place. I'm very sorry. And he goes, you better be, because next time they won't be so lucky. Now, they happen to come out of the room just a little bit to where they could see down the hallway. And that's when Alan sees this man. He is wearing all black, snake boots, and jewelry. It occurs to him that this is the man that talked to his grandfather many, many years before that and said he could turn into an animal.
Alright, y'all, it's Appalachia Spooky Story time, and this one is pretty terrifying. This story comes from one of my...
I don't know if you guys know or not, but I am from Appalachian, America. I was born in Huntsville, Arkansas. I lived there throughout my life several times. My life is very chaotic. We'll talk about it sometime, but Appalachian American lore is no BS.
Viewers that lives in the UK, and she really wants your all's help describing possibly what she saw and what she is still encountering because of this to this day. She says to this day, because of her experience out in the Appalachian Mountains, she's unable to leave her home. She's been diagnosed with mental illnesses. So please take a listen and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Wants to remain anonymous, so for this story we are going to call her Cassie. Cassie and her boyfriend, again, were living in the UK, but they wanted to take a trip to Nashville in Tennessee. They were in Nashville, they had a great time, but they still had a week of their vacation left, so they decided they would get some camping gear and drive up to the Appalachian Mountains of East Tennessee to go camping. So they got their gear all loaded up in the car, and then they found a place to stop with a trail that they decided they were going to walk up with all their camping gear and find a place to camp for the night. Said it was absolutely beautiful, taking in all of the scenery, but then all of a sudden, as they were walking, she kind of heard some footsteps behind her, like they were being followed. Her and her boyfriend turn around, they don't see anything, and her boyfriend's like, you know, it could be squirrels, it could be animals, whatever, let's just keep going. So they keep going, and they find a little place to stop, where she had a bottle of champagne in her backpack, and they were just going to have a glass of champagne and kind of cheers to their, you know, adventures. She said as they were sitting there, things started to feel really different than it had in the beginning of the trails. She said she felt just kind of overwhelmingly like odd. She said something just did not feel right. And they continued to hear these like footsteps out in the mountains, but they couldn't see anything. Said it oddly sounded like human footsteps, and her boyfriend was like, well, there could be some homeless people living out here or something, you just never know. Like, he was just kept trying to make excuses for these like odd noises and this odd feeling that they both had. He was like, I don't know, I just don't feel right, let's just keep walking and find a place to camp. She said the whole time they were walking to find a place to camp, though, she felt like she was being followed and like she was being watched. Found a place to set up camp. They set up for the night. They go into their tents for the evening. And she said she woke up and she remembers it was exactly 3:03 on her phone because she heard footsteps around the tent site. Again, thinking it was an animal or something, her partner unzipped the tent, looked out, and immediately goes, oh my God. She looks out and she says she sees this very tall, and it's a dark figure, very tall, dark figure, hunched over. And she said its arms were super, super long and touched the ground, like its fingers touched the ground. Then she said it had these almost white, hazy eyes. She said she immediately was just frozen in fear and panic. They zipped the tent back up, and she said she was like hysterically crying and screaming because what she saw was just something out of a nightmare. Continued to hear the footsteps around the tent, and her boyfriend was like, as soon as this thing's gone, we are bolting it for the car. She said they continued to hear it, and she continued to just have this panic until the sun came up. Once the sun came up and the footsteps stopped, they bolted to the car and immediately left. Once they got back to the UK, that was only the beginning of Cassie's nightmare, as her life for the last 10 years has been absolutely ruined. She said because of her deep depression that she fell into because of this incident, her and her boyfriend broke up. Like I said, she's not able to leave the house unless it's just to go to like the grocery store. She has terrifying, terrifying nightmares that keep her up, and she says she's unable to go to sleep until after 3:03 a.m., which is exactly the time that she saw this creature out in the woods. She has seen a psychiatrist, and she has been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and at one point was even diagnosed with schizophrenia. She said they put her on medication.
I can tell you, it's because you hear voices and stuff. Doesn't mean it's voices in your head, it's voices around you. This ish is real, I'm telling you. What did I get diagnosed with? It was borderline personality disorder. And it was same thing, but I've had paranormal experiences since my very first memory, you know, so it's not schizophrenia. There's really ghosts, there's really stuff out there.
for schizophrenia because of these like things that she would see in her dreams and visions, and the pills did not work, so she quit taking them. When she found my page, she said that she did have some comfort in knowing that she is not alone in her experiences in Appalachia, which is why she wanted to share her experience, because in a way it's almost therapeutic to her. However, she did say that she's trying to find, you know, other outlets of joy. Like she says she enjoys makeup, so she shares some like TikTok makeup videos and things like that just to use to cope, because this event has traumatized her so badly. So to help out Cassie, if any of you all know what this could have been, again, she said it was a very dark, tall figure with long arms. And apparently whatever this thing was seemed to have followed her home. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Drop in the comments what you think this could have been. Let me know if you've ever had any experiences like this, particularly in the Appalachian Mountains. And if you want more stories like this, then just follow along.
But I was gonna say, Appalachian stuff, that and Southwestern stuff were quite separated, but at the same time, you know how cougars and other things like that will travel long distances and move into different areas, not just their own. It's an exploration sort of thing, but same thing with SWs or flesh pedestrians. Yes, they originate here in Southwest Colorado and Arizona and other places. SWs are freaky, and the one that I saw had distended, aka extra long arms.
I will never understand how they make this jelly broth so.
This is probably going to be the worst case I've ever covered. This is one of those stories that will have you double checking to make sure all your windows and your doors are locked. If you're a woman and you're alone, I would suggest you skip the video. Unless you're okay with having anxiety and paranoia, that's your business. Molly McLaren did everything right. She blocked him, she reported him, she told all of her friends and family what was going on, and still ended up trapped in her car in broad daylight, fighting for her life. And the worst part, she didn't even know how close he was watching her. This is the case of 23-year-old Molly McLaren. Molly was one of those girls that you just instantly loved. Sweet, goofy, and hardworking. At the time, Molly was really into fitness and school and just bettering herself. She would even film her fitness journey and post it to social media. In 2017, Molly would wake up every morning and pretty much go straight to the gym. That was her safe place, her peace. And the gym being her safe place really puts chills down my spine. And you will find out soon why. Molly being only 20-something, she wanted companionship as well. So in July of 2016, Molly joined the dating app Tinder, and that's where she met him. His name was Joshua Stimson, a 25-year-old average man who worked in retail. He had a normal life, came off even shy, polite, also was very handsome. Good-looking man, seemed to have no criminal record, no violent history. There's no obvious signs that there's something off with his brain. Molly's friends and family like this guy. She's really happy, and she seemed to hit it off with him really well, also because they allegedly had some mental health issues in common. Molly suffered with severe anxiety, and she was battling this for quite a while. Joshua told her that he also suffered with a mental health illness, which was bipolar. The pair weren't talking for too long on Tinder before they decided to meet each other in person. Joshua seemed to really care for Molly. He was supportive of her mental health struggles. Joshua made Molly feel understood and seen. But underneath that calm exterior of Joshua Stimson, something darker was growing. After a few months of the young couple's new relationship, there were a few red flags that Joshua was starting to show. They weren't loud, they weren't violent. Joshua started to show signs of clinginess, possessiveness. He's just needy. He began to question Molly's whereabouts pretty much 24/7. He would double text her, triple text her. He wanted constant reassurance of where she was at, what she was doing, that he was still important in her life. He started even making remarks about what she was wearing, like, are you really gonna wear that out? Do you think that's appropriate? Just controlling, to say the least. If Molly would go out with friends, he was messaging her nonstop. There was no such thing as Molly doing something without him being in the picture. If she didn't reply fast enough, he would get irritated, angry almost. Joshua was suffocating Molly. She's young, she's having fun, she wants someone who will make her feel at peace and calm, especially with her anxiety disorder. This was just not something that she needed in her life at the moment. It got to a point where Molly did not want to continue the relationship with Joshua Stimson. This isn't the only time that Molly breaks up with Joshua. She actually ends up breaking up with him a few more times, but every single time he ends up being able to manipulate his way back into being in a relationship with her. But in June of 2017, she breaks up with Joshua for the last and final time. During this summer, whenever she finally ended the relationship, 100%, there's no coming back from it, Joshua's true identity began to show. The devil, a monster, a creature that shouldn't be allowed to walk the earth in human form. Joshua could not accept the breakup. Not emotionally, not mentally, not at all. His behavior escalated almost immediately. When Molly finally ended their relationship, they were at about the 7-month mark of being together. It wasn't even a full year. On June 22nd of 2017, Molly sent a startling message to all of her friends and family. She told them that she was scared and didn't know what Joshua would do to her. She was scared that he would hurt her. Her family encouraged her to block him on all social media platforms, and that is exactly what she does. But just because you block someone on social media does not mean that will stop them from watching you in real life. 1 week later, on June 29th of 2017, Molly heads to the shopping center in Chatham. In this mall is a gym that she frequented quite often. As Molly is minding her business and doing her workout as she normally does, a familiar face walks into the gym and starts working out beside her. It's Joshua Stimson. This wasn't an accident. He followed her. As soon as Molly sees him, she takes a picture of him and sends it to her mom, and she's like, "Mom, he's just showed up at the gym and he's next to me working out." Her mom's like, "You just need to come home." Molly actually walks over to Joshua and she's like, "Why aren't you at work?" And he's like, "That's none of your business." Soon afterwards, Joshua leaves the gym and then she leaves not too long after him. Her vehicle is quite a bit away from the door, the entrance of the mall. Molly is now making her way to her vehicle. After seeing her crazy ex-boyfriend appear out of nowhere, she's on edge, she's uncomfortable. She's just not feeling right. Something's just off. This was not a coincidence at all. She wasn't stupid and she knew that. She makes it to her vehicle, opens the driver's side door. What happens next is truly terrifying. Go to part 2.
Did you know that some people carry a blood type so rare it raises more questions than answers? Rh negative. Only a small fraction of humanity has it, and no one fully agrees on where it.
Okay, so if you look at DNA tracing, etc., it's in the small area near kind of below France, or is it above France, between France and, I want to say Sweden or Scandinavia, I can't remember. In that area, it's just a little tiny little area.
It came from or why it persists. If you're Rh negative, you're already unusual. And the deeper we dig, the stranger it gets. Before I go on, please like, share, save, and subscribe to my YouTube in case my account doesn't survive the purge on this app. So, when we talk about blood types, most of us think A, B, AB, or O, but there's another label attached, the Rh factor. It refers to the protein on the surface of red blood cells. If you have it, you're Rh positive. If you lack it, you're Rh negative. Around the world, only about 6% of the population is Rh negative. In most of Asia, it's closer to 1% or less, but in some isolated European groups, like the Basque people, Rh negative reaches 20 to 30%. Why the huge difference? Nobody knows for sure. From a purely survival perspective, Rh negative doesn't make much sense. If an Rh negative mother carries an Rh positive baby, her immune system can attack the fetus. Historically, that could have meant miscarriages or infant death, reducing the spread of Rh negative genes. So how did a trait with such a reproductive disadvantage survive? Did it offer something powerful enough to balance the risk, or is it persistence, a leftover fingerprint from ancient population bottlenecks, small groups that kept the trait alive simply by isolation? Science calls this an evolutionary mystery. Here's what research can tell us. Rh negative blood comes from a deletion of a gene that creates the Rh protein. That deletion is very old, older than many modern human migrations. It appears in pockets across the world that don't have a simple common ancestor, but we don't know where it emerged or why. This is where the curiosity comes in. Some people speculate Rh-negative individuals might have different immune or stress responses, slightly different neurological characteristics, higher sensitivity to the environment. There are even studies hinting at less cellular damage from gamma radiation in Rh-negative individuals, which could hint at resilience we don't fully understand yet. And then speculation goes even further. Alien ancestry theories, survival advantages in ancient climates, connections to intuition or gifted perception. There's no solid scientific proof for those ideas, but they keep resurfacing because the trait itself feels like such an anomaly. Here's something I find interesting. Many Rh-negative individuals describe feeling different from a very young age, like they never fully blended into the world around them. Sometimes more physically sensitive, sometimes more emotionally or
I'm not Rh-negative or positive, and I
energetically aware, sometimes just more tuned in. And is that because of biology? Hard to say. So we're left with a trait that is rare, ancient, risky from a survival standpoint, and still very much alive in humanity today. If you're Rh-negative, do you feel like it means anything? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments, not because I'm trying to prove a theory, but because sometimes the lived experiences of a group reveals patterns long before science catches up.
In 1978, 16-year-old Bridget Geiger was waiting outside her home in Ohio for a boy named Jeffrey to take her to prom. She wasn't particularly excited to go to prom with Jeffrey. He was known to be really nervous around girls, and so she figured it was going to be a pretty awkward date, but nobody else had asked her to go, and she really wanted to go to prom, so she said yes. When Jeffrey showed up, she was immediately disappointed. He was wearing this odd ensemble of vest and bow tie, as opposed to the standard tuxedo that she was anticipating him wearing. And so now they weren't going to match. He was also so nervous that he was visibly shaking and couldn't pin her corsage to her dress. And so Bridget's mom had to come out and put the corsage on. After the corsage was on, Bridget's mom would take a couple of very awkward photos of them kind of stiffly standing in front of her house before they ultimately got in Jeff's car and headed for the prom. When they arrived, Bridget wanted to go on the dance floor to see her other friends to kind of lighten the mood because she was not having a good time with Jeffrey so far. But she did stay with him, and it was clear that Jeffrey hated being at the prom. He hated being around this swarming group of teenagers. Bridget felt kind of bad and said, "Hey Jeffrey, do you want to go sit down and just grab a bite to eat over at the little food cart they have here?" Jeffrey's very relieved and says, "Yes, I'd love to do that." And the pair leave the dance floor and walk over to the little food court area. As they're about to sit down, Jeffrey pulls the chair out for Bridget. She sits down, he kind of pushes her in like a gentleman, but then instead of sitting down with her, he just walks.
Before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys, their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately.
Away without telling her where he's going. Bridget assumed he was just going to the bathroom, but after a really long amount of time had passed, and it was clear he had not just gone to the bathroom, she got up to go look for him. And so she went on the dance floor, she can't find him in the building, and so she goes outside to see if maybe his car's not there anymore. Maybe he just left. And she sees his car, it's still in the lot. When she turns around to go back into the prom, she sees Jeffrey sitting on a curb just eating McDonald's cheeseburgers. And she goes over to him and she's like, "What are you doing out here?" And so he told her that he just wanted to step outside and get a couple cheeseburgers and then come back and he would sit with her while she ate, but they wouldn't let him back in. And so he just went and got more cheeseburgers and thought he would wait here until she came outside. And now that she was outside, she couldn't get back in either. So she just says, "Hey, I'd like to just go home." And so Jeffrey is mortified and he tells her, "I'm so sorry. I wanted this to be a nice evening for you. I'm sorry it wasn't." He drives her home. He says goodbye. She walks into her house. He drives off, and that was that. Bridget only saw Jeffrey one more time after that. It was about a week after prom, and Jeffrey actually invited her to come over his house for what he was calling a house party. And Bridget's like, "There's no way this kid's throwing a house party. He can barely stand to be around just me, let alone a crowd of people." But she was polite and said, "Sure, I'd love to come to your house party." She gets there and there's no food, there's no music, there's like 3 people there. And as soon as she walks in, all Jeffrey wanted to do was have a seance and communicate with the devil. She was so immediately creeped out by Jeffrey's behavior that after only a couple of minutes, she just turned around and left his house party and did not see him again. Well, until 13 years later when she would read about him in the newspaper.
Tonight,
A team of paranormal investigators from the UK who went missing in the Appalachian Mountains on Halloween have been found, and now their shocking footage is being released.
I'm under no illusions right now that this is our most dangerous investigation to date.
This is the first ever investigation where there's genuine concern for our safety. What is that? If you hear a whistle, no you didn't. If you hear somebody call your name, no you didn't. If you hear laughing, crying, no you didn't.
Where do we stop from entertainment to being, this is so fucked up?
I've never been this scared on an investigation, mate, ever.
This is Ghost Trip International, and this is the Appalachian Mountains.
Sorry, guys. Gotta pause this. I made a mistake. I hit the wrong button. I'm so sorry. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we still got a little bit of time, so let me pull this back up. Sorry, guys. No, I just really got into that. I'm like, no freaking way. So yeah, I am digging this. Totally digging it. Appalachian Mountains. That's where I'm from.
Everyone knew her as the sweetest girl at Beverly High until she vanished without a trace. A town was rocked to its core when the truth came out about what really happened to Amy Carnevale. Warning, if you have anxiety or paranoid issues, don't watch the video. Amy Elizabeth Carnevale is a 14-year-old girl who lives in Beverly, Massachusetts. Those who know her describe her as kind, sweet, generous, with an upbeat and positive attitude. Amy has a special ability to see the positive in anyone she meets. It's 1991 and Amy is a spunky cheerleader for the Beverly High Panthers. She dreams of becoming a hairstylist one day. She does a lot of her practicing on friends, family members, and she's actually pretty good at it. She had a natural gift for cutting hair, something she really loved to do. Now again, at this time, Amy is only 14, so she loves doing all the young kid things. She really enjoys hanging out with her friends. She's at the stage in her life where she's just a carefree butterfly, if you will. Well, at this stage in her life, she's also interested in boys. She attended a friend's party one night, and a boy there sparked her interest. He was a boy 2 years older than her, and his name was Jamie Fuller. He's 16. Well, Jamie has a bit of a reputation. He's a bit of a bad boy, a troublemaker. A little bit of a background on Jamie. He grew up without a father in the house. His father left when he was little, but when his father was there, he would often beat on Jamie's mother. He had to witness this, and his mother would have various men in and out the house, multiple relationships, and those men would treat her just as bad, if not worse. When he grew into teenage years, he just kind of started to rebel, and like I said, he's a bit of a bad boy. Everybody knows this. His reputation is trash. This did not change Amy's view on Jamie. She seen goodness in him, and she fell head over heels for Jamie, despite their opposite personalities. They soon start a relationship, and it's going pretty well. It seems to be just going amazing. I mean, Amy cannot shut up about Jamie. She talks about him to all of her friends. Their relationship seems perfect from the outside. Friends would describe Jamie and Amy's relationship as passionate and intense at the same time. After a few months, people started to see a few signs of something that wasn't so great. He would often grab her arm aggressively in front of people. He didn't really care. He would tell her what to do, where she was going. Amy wasn't allowed to go certain places without him knowing, even if she was just going somewhere with her girlfriends. Mind she's 14. If she was going to go sit in her backyard to talk to two of her girlfriends, he would be upset. Very, very jealous about anything she was doing. She wasn't allowed to wear like short skirts. She had to dress a certain way, and she would listen to him. He would pretty much manipulate her and gaslight her and tell her that.
I had a boyfriend like that would get pissed off when I called my best friend.
If she would not do these things for him, that means that she doesn't love him. And he would tell her, well, if you don't do these things, I'm going to also go find another girl who will. She did not want Jamie to leave her, so she would follow these rules. She would not wear skirts. She would tell him everything she was doing because she wanted him to know that she loved him. After about a year, Amy started showing even more signs of distress. Like she would dress a certain way. She would only wear turtlenecks, or she was always wearing long sleeves, and people started to pick up that like maybe she was hiding something. Like why are you wearing turtlenecks all the time? She was actually trying to conceal bruises on her body. body. When her parents seen these bruises, they were like, who's doing this to you? Like, she couldn't hide it anymore. It came out that her boyfriend, Jamie, that she was so head over heels for, was putting these bruises on her body. He's hurting her. It then got to a point, though, that she just could not take the abuse anymore, and she tells Jamie that it's over. They're done. This ignites a fire in Jamie that is just not good. He really believed that Amy was his property. Even after they broke up, it's like she could not get rid of him. It's like he always knew where she was, what she was doing. It was almost like stalkerish behavior. Not almost, it was stalkerish behavior. She ended up revealing a secret to Jamie, and that's that she was pregnant with his child. Well, him finding out that she was pregnant angered him even more. He felt like she was trying to ruin his life, like, because she was pregnant, he was like, you're trying to ruin my life with a kid.
Yeah, it's her fault.
Like, you laid down and had sex with her. What do you mean she's trying to ruin your life?
You're the one that didn't wrap it up, dude. Come on. It's everybody's fault but mine.
Piss me off. I will calm down. It was evident that he didn't really love Amy. He just wanted control over her. Well, he started venting to his friends, telling them for like a year straight, like, I'm going to kill this girl. She's pissing me off. I don't want her alive anymore. I'm going to kill her. She was pissing him off because she didn't want to be with him anymore. Like, she had already left and she's moving on, and he's still angry. Well, one random day, Amy planned a girls' day at the beach with her friends to just get away from everything. She was kind of celebrating, like, I'm done with this piece of crap, like, we're over. And he got word that she was at the beach with her girlfriends, and that pissed him off even more. Like, this boy has issues. We found out that she was at the beach. He actually went home and destroyed his room and got him grounded. Well, a few days later or so, he gets this plan in his mind. He calls Amy and he's like, hey, will you come cut my hair? Because he knew she liked cutting hair. He had to, like, kind of beg her to do this, like, come cut my hair. He doesn't actually want her to cut his hair. He has something else planned in his mind. On August 23rd of 1991, Amy left her house to go cut her ex-boyfriend's hair because he had asked her to. When she didn't return home, her family became worried. Her mother decided to call 911 as the night got later and later, and she just did not come home. 19-year-old boy, who was a friend of Jamie's, came forward to police with a shocking accusation. He told police that a few days prior, Jamie met with Amy. He brought a few friends along with him. He told police that Jamie never intended on getting his hair cut by Amy, but he wanted to lure her to kill her. At this point, Amy's still missing. They don't have a body. There's no proof that she has been murdered. They let the boy further explain, and what they hear is just a horrifying chain of events that they were not expecting. If you want to hear the rest of the story, go to part 2 because I'm out of time.
Oh my God.
Story time. Switching to Shopify doubled my income.
Let's talk about some more weird stuff.
Okay.
I'm a part of a team who has learned how to permanently shift how to connect to consciousness. There's a process to do it and an understanding that has to take place for that to happen. But when you do get this to happen, on demand, you will be able to physically see and even feel what you would consider your guardian angels or spirit guides. I know that sounds wild. In my last year and a half, me, my friends, my family, and people from TikTok, it has been repeatable. It's something that can be induced. And the information that you get once that happens is on a whole nother level. This reality is not what we thought it was. Not close at all. And I'm going to teach you how this works.
First of all, this is not scary. Don't think you're gonna get scared. But it is something to think about. Okay. This happened. I don't know if y'all remember when they were breaking ground for the Toyota plant on Applewhite Road. They were busing people from the flea market to Applewhite Road to the Toyota plant. And I had gone to HEB, and I had Yvette, Ethan, and Isaiah. And the way over there, I saw those cars at the flea market. And on the way back, after I had gotten the groceries, I told Yvette, you know what, Yvette? I'm going to go down Applewhite to see all the commotion. Maybe, we can see something. But of course, we couldn't see anything because I had that big pile of dirt in front. So I kept on driving, and as soon as you pass the bridge where the river is, there's a side street and it's Jed Road. And I just kept going until it hit 1604. I just kept going down on Jed Road. Jed Road, passing 1604, is a very windy road. And people tend to throw trash. They throw carpets, metal. They just throw a
just
whole bunch
random
of
shit.
stuff. As I was getting almost to the last final turn, I see 3 big piles. And I'm complaining there, can these people, like, they just, burn it or paper or trash cans. And to me, it was a white trash bag, a carpet, and some other bag that they had thrown. To me, that's what it looked like from where I was coming from.
Yeah, that sounds like a...
And then when I got there to the first thing, it was the head of the cow. It was completely like sawn off, no blood, and it was just the head of the cow. And I saw it, and then I said, oh my God. And then I got to the next pile. The next pile was the height of the cow.
That's what you thought was
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought that was the carpet, but it was the skin of the cow. And the white bag wasn't a white bag. I don't know if you have ever skinned an animal that when you remove the furry part, there's like a light,
white,
like a light skin.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that
like
was
stretchy
the
and stuff.
body of the cow. No blood, no nothing, just that. The head, the skin, and the body of the cow. No blood, nothing. But once I got over all of that, there was a black car there with dark tinted windows. So I said, hey, this is some alien thing here. I didn't quite say it that way, but I did say it. So right away, I got home and I told my husband, I told my son. Nobody wanted to go back to see it with me. Man, if it would have been my daughter or my son that came and told me that, and you want to go see it, I would have gone right away. Nobody went. So,
a bunch of chicken shits.
To me, that was something alien.
Grandma, that is scary. What do you mean they're not going to get scared by that? That's one of the scariest ones.
A lot of things happen on Jet Road, too. Not only to me, but to my son. When I was talking to Daddy this morning, that I was telling him I was gonna tell them about the cow. And I said, do you remember what happened to you and the kids? And she said, no, Mom, I don't remember. Yeah, you remember. You even said,
Smear completely eliminates your blind spot, and let me show you how.
I guess I was around 8 or 9. Like I said, we live in the country. But
I believe fairies are real. It doesn't mean I know how to deal with them. But that's why I like how diverse Four Corners Paranormal Investigations is. People who know how to deal with fae and other things like that. Like, we have knowledge all across the board. But yeah, you think of fairies as really cute, sweet little thingy-jaders, but they can be scary.
But it was down the gravel road about a mile. There was an old lady, her and her husband. And she had 2 kids, and they lived in a little house there, adjoining to a barn where we kept the tractors. Anyway, my mom told me, she said, come walk down here in this Madam May's house with me. That was the lady's name. In the summertime, walk down there. But back in them days, let the grown folk talk. So when Mama went to the door and was talking to Miss Madam May, I went across the road. Now, they had a little grudge ditch. They had a fence behind to keep the cows in the pasture. And they had, the trees that's overgrown, but there's a little ditch down there. And when I went down there, first thing I did when I looked up, I seen the most pretty color wings on these fairies. Now, I had never in my life seen a fairy, didn't know what it was. But it was one, and I know that she was a female. Well, she came down to where I was. Now, the one at the top, they was like, and I just had a feeling, you don't mess with them. And if it wasn't for that one that was down there talking to me, I would have been in big trouble. But there was something about the one, and I know she was a female, and she was really small. She had these wings just like the rest of them, but the other one was flying above, right over the top of me. Now, the reason I tell this story, because I don't want to die, my mom, my brother, we all had experiences at that same place. It's a lot of haunted places down there, a lot of mystical places. Some of the places, the old folks used to call impressions. That means like whatever the people that were living there, once they passed on, the impression is still there. That happened to me when I told you all about.
Oh my gosh, what is it called? Something recording. It is recorded in stone. It can be recorded in wood. Certain traumatic events can be recorded in these different materials and played back willy-nilly.
I didn't eat greens. And I was nothing around us. It was just cotton fields and bean fields. I mean, for miles. We just old shotgun house sitting in the middle of the cotton field in Mississippi. That's where we live. Well, when Mama would cook greens, I would go down in the back. We had a dirt road where the tractors would go down when they plow in the field. That's the road they would use. Had a few of them. But I remember going back there, and there was this old lady, white hair. She always had on a little apron. She had a small little picket fence. Wasn't a full picket fence, but just something to decorate the front of the house. And I used to always go there. It's like the old lady was expecting me. And she used to make me those little cakes. Now, this was just a plain cake that they cooked in the cast iron skillet. So the bottom of it would be kind of crunchy.
Yeah, like
and I would sit underneath the house because the house was built on those blocks off the ground. You could sit on the house out the shade, out the sun in the shade, and eat. Me and my sister and brother did all the time. But sometimes you have little crumbs dropped on the ground, and the chickens would come by and they would eat them up. Well, like I said, I don't want these things to die out. They mean something, and things that we've seen, things that we're not sure about, But I think the third generation is your last generation, your great grandfather's knowledge, passing it down. And I'm just going to share it. To some people, I don't think it's going to sound crazy. I think it's going to be something that you say, you know what, I'm going to look into that, Well, I love you. I know you've been around for a while, but love you.
There's an Italian fairy tale literally everyone needs to know about. It's
All right, we're going to go to our second music break. On this break, we have Nonye Toria with Yanga, and she is from Ghana, South Africa. We have Hosni Bronx from the Bronx of New York, as well as Jamaica, with Free Child and Strong Life, and then King Cinnamon from Biafra, Nigeria, with Rosie. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Show me your yanga, show me your yanga, eh. Show me your yanga, eh. Yeah. 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 None, yeah. I love music, Niger music, Niger. It's Friday. The way you're shaking your waist, don't stop till you dance all day. With a groove, the Niger way. If you like to Atlanta, it's a good batter. Niger music is alive. We got the hottest music out there. Even start from today. We'll be hitting it from Monday to Sunday. Everybody get ready. It's time for us to get steady. Everywhere we go, Niger music now number one. Music. your facts, hey, now your palaver. I beg throw away your face. That they let people come throw away your face. It don't really matter cause we all in the race. That's all we gonna be till we all meet the danger. Show me your young girl.
Funky on the beats.
Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. All my men, they better. All my guys, they better. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama.
There's a very well.
All my men, they better. All my guys, they better. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Muko mukeji, go bere muketa. Oya muko mukeji, oya bere muketa. Daddy mu eko, omo ni kwa mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fumi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ejo. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ejo. Daddy kosi kosi, omo ni ejo. Daddy turn him pussy, omo ni ejo. Daddy and his baby, them there for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl the holla. Nine daddy begin the open the shirt collar. Nine something comma. Daddy begin the sucker. Daddy move echo. Omani kwa mukeji. Daddy bere muketa. Omani fumi lane. Daddy fisi fisi. Omani ejo. Daddy saucy saucy. Omani ejo ejo. All my men they gwero. All my guys they gwero. Imarama Imarama Rosie. Imarama Imarama Rosie. All my men they gwero. All my guys they gwero. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Shake it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Shake it up my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Fisi fisi, amani, ejo. Daddy saucy saucy, amani, ejo. Daddy kosi kosi, amani, ejo. Daddy kahe kosi, amani, ejo. Daddy contact, amani, ejo. Daddy comfort, daddy consist, amani, ejo. Daddy can eat, daddy 120, amani, ejo. Daddy 18, daddy 240, amani, ejo. Daddy 360. Daddy and his baby, them there for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl the holla. Daddy begin the open the shirt collar. I something come, daddy begin the sucker. Daddy move echo, I'm on the mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, I'm on the fumi lane. Daddy fisi fisi, I'm on the ejo. Daddy saucy saucy, I'm on the ejo ejo. All my men they gwero. All my guys they gwero. Imarama, 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 Imarama.
Oh yeah, it's funky on the beats.
Babylon make you suffer. Babylon make you suffer. Babylon make you suffer. Babylon make you
you suffer. What the desire? Young life. We are ready to fight. Hard life for my people. I don't know why my people live this life. I don't know why my people live this life. I don't know how to fight, 'cause my people suffer. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you want, Babylon? I don't understand why this world is so strange, strange with my people. I don't know how to fight, but if we are together, it will work. It will work. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Babylon no have no heart. 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 My people, you have to survive. Yeah, you must rebuild you and make your own way. You must not give up. The beginning of the revolt will start. We need to follow our true destiny. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know why my people live this life. I don't know why my people live this life. The obstacle we face, yeah, is Babylon. The world is a good place, yeah, for our freedom. You take everything, you don't breathe anything, yeah, yeah. Young life, all anti-dread. We must believe in a magical, powerful force that unite us, not just these people stay speechless again. We don't want to talk, no, it's time to fight, yeah. We start talking. Babylon make you suffer. 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 What the desire? Young life. We are ready to fight.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. So when I'm on break, I do a number of things, take care of the kids, hit the head, grab a snack, feed the animals, or whatever the crack I need to do. Go check for raccoons or freaking skunks or owls or whatever else might be out there. Well, on YouTube tonight, I just shared this with my son, but it is a video from 2021. It is an official trailer for A Quiet Fart. Beware! No, but I'm going to send that to my son because it's just too freaking funny. All right, let's get back into it with our videos. We've gone from I was going to say we went from following to for you, but it looks like we're still on following. Crook. Let me see.
There's an Italian fairy tale literally everyone needs to know about. It's about how people have never believed women from the beginning of time, how they should, and it's about a girl who literally saves herself in the end, in the most satisfying way. It'd also be an amazing movie or book retelling. It's called The One-Handed Murderer. There's a king who's so miserly, he doesn't want to give his daughter away in marriage because then he'd have to pay a dowry. So to make sure no one ever sees her or asks for her hand in marriage, he keeps her locked up in a garret of the castle, like basically an attic or a tower. One day, a murderer comes to town. He finds out about the girl locked in the tower, super helpless, and he's like, I'm gonna go kill her. He climbs up, sneaks in the window, the princess wakes up and sees him and starts screaming, help, help, help. He flees over the rooftops, the servants come in and they're like, you were just dreaming, there's no one there. The second night again, he tries to get in and she screams for help, but he's gone by the time people come in and they're like, quit lying, girl. Well, the third night, she fastens the window with a strong chain, stands by the window with her heart pounding, holding a knife. And the murderer can't open the window, he thrusts in one hand and she cuts it clean off. He screams, you'll pay for that, and runs away off the rooftops. Well, now she's got proof. She shows everyone, look, here's his hand, and they're all like, oh, we should have listened to you. Yeah. Well, not long after that, an elegant young man wearing gloves shows up and says, hey, I want to marry your daughter, and I won't even take a dowry because I'm so rich myself. And the king's like, well, this is the perfect man. The princess never got a good look at him, but she's got a bad feeling. She's like, I think that's the murderer. And he's like, what, didn't you see his gloves? He's got 2 hands. So he marries her to him. And she partly agrees just to escape her father's tyranny, which, yeah, I get. After the wedding, she gets in a carriage with him to go to his home. And in the carriage, he's like, my dear, take off my gloves. And she does. And the stump is there. And he's like, haha, you are in my power now. And as his wife, she is. And he says, now I'm going to get even with you. He takes her to his house, which is at the edge of the forest overlooking the sea. And he's like, here's where all my treasure is from all the people I murdered. I have to go murder some more. So I'm going to tie you to this tree to make you watch over the treasure while I'm gone. So he chains her to a tree and she looks out at the ocean, and as ships go by, she starts screaming, please, please come help me. Finally, a ship shows up. They cut her free. She tells them her story and they're like, you can come with us. Also, we're taking all of the treasure. And they do. The murderer comes home, sees she's gone, his stuff is gone, he figures she went by sea, he sees the ship, he rows out there and he's like, hey, my stuff got stolen, I need to come aboard. The ship are of cotton merchants, and he's like, you have to throw all your cotton into the sea. And they're like, we're not going to do that, but you can take your sword and just like stab every bale of cotton to make sure there's no woman hiding inside. So he goes around and he does that. Well, our girl is in one of those bales of cotton, and when he sticks his sword in, he wounds her, but when he draws it out, the cotton cleans off all of the blood, so he doesn't know, and she just stays in there and suffers. But it turns out after he leaves that she only got a scratch and she's okay. She's so terrorized he'll come after her again. She tells the sailors to throw her into the sea. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. And one of the old sailors is like, well, my wife and I, we've never been able to have kids. Come live with us and like, we'll take care of you and love you. And so she does. And she has a good life in this new kingdom with the sailor and his wife. She helps the wife with her embroidery business and they sell their stuff in the marketplace. And eventually the king of this new kingdom sees this amazing embroidery. He wants to know who does it. And he shows up at the house. Now the terrified girl has said, I will be your daughter only if you never make me leave the house and don't ever let any man see me. And they agreed with that. But the king sticks his foot in the door and sees her. She immediately faints because trauma. But then she wakes up, sees it's the king, and she's not afraid anymore. And the king comes every day just to watch her embroider and starts to fall in love with her. And she starts to feel safe with him. And when he asks her to marry him, she says, yes, I will. But again, I don't want to have to ever be around people because I'm scared of this murderer coming after me. So they get married in private, but then the people are really unhappy that they've never seen this new queen, and they start to send out rumors that she's a monkey or that she's like a monster. So the king's like, you gotta present yourself to the people. And she's like, okay, even though you promised I would never have to do that, I'll do that. So she comes out on the balcony, the people see her and they're like, oh, she's beautiful. But who's out there but the murderer? And he takes off his cloak and he holds up his missing hand and looks at her, and she faints from fright. They take her to her bedroom and she's like, I will never leave this room. I am sick with fright. No, 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 no. Of course, later, the murderer comes disguised as another foreign gentleman, and the king welcomes him because he's so glib and charming, and they have a big feast for him. And the murderer literally drugs everyone's wine so that the king and every single person in the palace, except for him, passes out. And except for the girl that he's after, because she's hiding in her room. He finds her curled up on her bed, wide-eyed, almost as though she expected him, because of course she did.
He says, the hour has come for my revenge. I want you to go get me a basin of water so that I can wash the blood off my hands after I murder you. And so he sends her to go get water, soap, and a towel. And she goes out and tries to wake up her husband, tries to wake up everyone. She can't. But what she does find is her husband's pistol on him. So she comes back with the gun wrapped in a towel. And he's like, all right, you ready to die? And she shoots him straight in the chest, kills him instantly. At that shot, the drunk people all woke up at the same time and, following the king, ran into her room. They found the murderer slain, the queen freed at last from her terror. Because she saved herself, because no one else was going to. Such a fascinating story because it explores all of those layers of how women are made helpless and how she doesn't have any of these choices and how all of the men in her life are threats to her. Even the ones who...
Here's how to disappear overnight. You just enter your number into Cloaked and watch as it scans 120 plus data brokers.
The Irish call them leprechauns, Latin Americans call them duendes, and the Cherokee refer to them as the Yunwe-Yusti. The Cherokee are not native to western North Carolina. They moved down from the Great Lakes region, and when they arrived, they found neatly tended gardens. And as they observed the gardens, they noticed these little people coming to tend to the crops and then disappearing back into the ground. What if I told you that during the construction of McKee and Killian Hall on the Western Carolina campus in the mid-1930s, early 1940s, that they found 3-foot-tall arch-top tunnels. In a book called Cherokee Little People Were Real by Mary Joyce, she documents stories from old-timers in the area that grew up there who went to play in the tunnels or would challenge other kids to go look at the tunnels. Farmers would also find holes in the ground that they would fill with logs to keep their cows from falling in. And during the construction of running water lines, they come to find out that all of these tunnels would lead to these mounds with the holes in the top. And they assume that, well, these aren't burial mounds. These are just where the little people excavated their dirt. It's also rumored that there are different types of little people. The leprechauns and the Yunwe-Yusti were different races, and they went to war. So during the building of these buildings on the Western Carolina campus, they found child-sized skeletons. And for a long time, one of the professors kept this small skull on his desk. When one of his colleagues came in and started to examine the skull, they realized that this small skull has all of its wisdom teeth. And if you know anything about that, you have to be at least 18 to 20 years old for those to be fully developed. So the small skull belonged to an adult. It's rumored that during the construction, when they found these skeletons, the Smithsonian showed up and made them disappear along with any other trace of the story. If you know anything about the Western Carolina campus, then you know that McKee Hall is 2 stories from the front and 3 stories from the back. And the bottom floor that goes into the ground is the archaeology department. And on the other side of an 18-inch thick concrete wall would be the last place in all of Cullowhee, North Carolina, that you could still find the entrances to these small 3-foot tunnels. I get asked a lot what my favorite Appalachian folklore or cryptid stories are, and it is most definitely the Yunwe-Yusti or duendes or leprechauns, because they wouldn't exist in so many cultures if they weren't real.
The takers.
The girl behind me is one of the youngest serial killers in history. She was only 10 years old when she took the lives of 2 toddlers, and only 11 years old when she was sentenced for the crime. The judge even called her a monster. This is the story of Mary Bell. Reminder that I tell a lot of dark true crime stories on this channel, so viewer discretion is advised, but follow along if you want to hear more. So there have been many questions raised on the argument of nature versus nurture. Like, are people born serial killers, or are there other environmental factors at play? Most psychologists agree that it's both. And with Mary Bell, that's definitely the case. There are many darker and more sinister factors at play as you look behind the curtain. So let's dive in. Mary Bell was born May 26, 1957 in Scotswood, which is a suburb in North England. Mary's mother is really important in this story. A little bit about her. Her mom was only 16 when she had her. She was working as a woman of the night. Her mother hated Mary, and she was a total garbage person. Experience with her mother ranged from, complete neglect to depraved mistreatment. Mary Bell's mother more than once tried to inflict grievous harm on her child. Her mother threw Mary out the window. She suffered a traumatic brain injury, but she survived. Then, when Mary was only 4 years old, her mother started selling her to grown men, and that continued for years. So considering all of this, by the time Mary was 10, she had developed into a strange child. She was described as withdrawn and manipulative and kind of always on the edge of violence. So let's talk more about the crimes Mary Bell committed. On May 25, 1968, Mary Bell lured 4-year-old Martin Brown into an abandoned house, and she strangled him until he passed away. The police called his death a tragic accident.
In 1994, this man was disappeared, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with what he was working on. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of Jacobo Greenberg.
The girl behind me.
In 1994, this man was disappeared, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with what he was working on. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of Jacobo Greenberg, his insanely groundbreaking findings, and the mystery that surrounds his disappearance. So at the age of 12, Jacobo decided he wanted to study the human mind because he recently lost his mother to a brain tumor. He studied psychology and neuroscience and got a PhD from NYU. And that PhD focused on the relationship between the mind and the body. But here's the thing about Jacobo. He did what many scientists are afraid to do. He wanted to see if there was a link between science and shamanism, mysticism, these supernatural or spiritual topics. And being from Mexico, he focused primarily on Mexican shamanism. By combining his scientific background with his shamanic and mystical background, he was able to learn things that would challenge conventional science. Now, if you're not new to my content, you know I've been talking about this podcast, the telepathy tapes that every single person needs to listen to. It looks into and documents the telepathic and psychic abilities within nonverbal autistic individuals. Now, the coolest thing about this podcast is just because these people have these abilities does not mean they're the only ones with it. And often they say everybody has this, they've just forgotten. You want to know what Jacobo Greenberg found out? Yeah, I think you already know what I'm going to say. I'm going to be doing a much larger deep dive eventually about him, but let's just talk about some of the things that he found. 1, he worked really closely with a Mexican shaman named Pachita. He would witness and document her psychic surgeries that she would perform on people. He would describe her ability to literally manifest organs for people. She was able to perform these impossible surgeries. How? Well, Jacobo says she was able to access higher forms of reality, tap into higher energy fields, if you will, and use them to change this reality. Why? Because we're living in the Matrix. We're living in a holographic reality where we project reality. The individuals on the telepathy tapes talk about this. Jacobo talks about this. She is literally a computer programmer that was able to change the program. That change manifests a new reality. Jacobo proposed what he calls the synergy theory. The idea is simply that we live in a holographic informational matrix that is shaped by our conscious projections. And he suggests that people with high neuronal energy fields can manipulate this matrix. They're just advanced coders within the system. And when I say coder, please do not take this as we're living in a computer simulation. Simulation does not always mean a computer simulation, okay? Just using it as an analogy. Jacobo also performed many experiments regarding telepathy and other psychic abilities. He would look at things through meditation, look at two brains, and what they found is there was a synchronization that would happen where the sharing of information could happen. Through his experiments, he suggests that there's an interconnectedness of consciousness at all levels. He was working on some pretty amazing things, and in December 1994, just before his 48th birthday, he disappeared. There are so many conspiracies around why and how he disappeared. His wife claimed that he was traveling, but there's no flight records or any sightings whatsoever. Some people think he was silent. Some people think he was taken by the CIA. Some people think that he just pieced out on this reality and went to higher planes of consciousness. Like I said, we're going to dive so deep into his story and his findings, but it is really fascinating when you take a man of science who is a genius that applies that to look for the connections between spirituality, mysticism, shamanism, whatever you want to call it, and he explores the different levels of consciousness. Instead of just ignoring the things that we can't explain or calling it woo-woo or crazy, he pragmatically looked it in the face, trying to understand it. And unfortunately for us, he disappeared. But if you want a really interesting podcast, it's 10 episodes long, and it goes through these abilities, testing individuals who have these abilities. It is so fascinating. It is so fascinating. You need to.
I'm a full-time mom, and I discovered the secret to earning more. I started delivering.
So the following picture you're about to see was taken by myself along with my research partners William Lunsford and Stephen Hill in our research area we call Ground Zero. It was taken as we came out of the woods, and we figured if something is watching us right now, it's watching us from the tree line. So we immediately started taking grid pictures of the tree line. And when we got up to the logging road, this is what we saw. So just to piggyback off of part one there, so once we found that picture, we immediately sent it from the field in real time up to a company called Ace 49 Photography in Anchorage, Alaska. We had them look at it, do their fancy filters and all that techie stuff they do that I don't know how to do. And they came back and said, even after applying our technology, whatever is there is still there. So my partners actually had to go back to that location the next day because I was going back to Alaska that day. But they went back just to make sure that it wasn't a tree. And folks, it wasn't a tree. And some people call this the gorilla picture. In fact, my boss at work said, Daniel, what are you taking a picture of a gorilla pooping in the woods for? But we believe that we're looking at an actual Sasquatch. You can see the face, the nose, the brow, and the head. Yeah, that's what we believe it to be. Obviously, it's open to your interpretation and opinion, but please don't shout me down when I'm preaching good. We believe that it's the real thing.
This experiment is absolutely wild and may confirm that we're living in a simulation. It was performed by Thomas Young, and it's called the double slit experiment. So basically, if you fire particles at a screen through a split, it will make this clumping pattern, okay? What if you add a second slit? You fire the particles, it makes two clumping patterns. Everybody with me? So if you perform this with a wave, this is what you would expect to see. The density would be in the middle and it would disperse outwards, but it would look similar to the clumping pattern with the most density being in the middle. So now let's do it with the two slits. When you do two slits, as the waves pass, they create their own waves, and the waves interfere with each other at different points. This is called an interference pattern, okay? Particles clump together, waves make an interference pattern. So now let's do it with electrons. As you fire it through, you'll see a similar clumping pattern. So as scientists performed it with two slits, they expected to see two clumping patterns, but they didn't. What they saw was this, the interference pattern. For years, the scientists thought, well, maybe these electrons would collide with each other, and that's what causes this interference pattern. So in the 60s, they modified the experiment where they would only shoot one electron at a time, and it still made the interference pattern. So they wanted to see what was causing this, and so they made an observer. They wanted to record what was happening, and here's what's crazy. With the observer there, the electrons would make two clumping patterns. They would behave the way that they were supposed to. Without the observer, the interference pattern.
But that's a different result to what we had earlier. So here's the last bit of sneakiness that we can play with atoms. Surely now, we're going to get to grips with it. Leave the detector there, but just very quietly go and unplug it. Don't let the atoms know that you're not spying on them. Run the experiment again.
They run it again with the observer unplugged, and it's the same interference pattern. Depending on whether the particles were being observed or not, impacted the way that they would act. Like, how would a particle be aware of this? So the experiment was updated to the delayed choice experiment. They would fire a photon, there would be no observer until the photon goes through the slits, then the observer would turn on. And here's where it gets absolutely insane. Once the observer was turned on, the photon would act like it had been observed the entire time. It would go back to doing a clumping pattern, switching from wave to particle.
experiment showed is that even though the electrons started as waves but behaved like particles after being observed, at the moment the decision to observe them was made, the electrons recorded themselves as having passed through the slits as particles. The electrons changed their state by going back in time.
Do you understand what that is saying? They changed their state by going back in time. The scientific definition of that, by the way, is called retrocausality. So if photons from a star came to Earth, let's say that star is 100 million years away, those photons went through a double slit, they would make the wave interference pattern, unless they were being observed. If it was observed, it would make the clumping pattern. Even though for 100 million years it existed as a wave pattern, once you observed it, it, through retrocausality, goes 100 million years in the past and acts like a particle. This is similar to how rendering works in a video game. A video game engine only renders what you perceive. It's not going to render all of the detail inside of this building until you are there inside the building. It is constantly rendering things as your perception changes. The reason why it does this is so it can save on compute power, but you have the illusion of a complete and total map. The double slit experiment suggests that the same thing may be happening with us. Things only get rendered if you're observing them. So everybody's heard the saying, if a tree falls in the woods but no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, according to the double slit experiment, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to observe it, does it even exist? Did it even do anything? Pretty trippy, right?
ChatGPT is old news. Most people over 40 still use it like a toy, while more than 2,000 new AI tools were released in the last 30 days. Here's how smart ones learned them.
Stop. Please stop using Chat.
You should talk about when, I don't know if it was here or if it was in Mexico, but when y'all were playing hide and go seek?
No, that was your tío Bello, my brother. My brother was he was bad. And my brother was raised by my grandma. Back then, it was my grandma's house in the corner of, was it Ripford and Merman. Her house was right there in the corner. Right now, there's nothing there. There was, before then, there was 3 houses there. And those other 2 houses belonged to my grandma. And we lived in one of them. They would always be playing real late at night. And that was one thing my mom and my dad would tell us. Never play outside at night. Do not play with dolls. Do not play with anything. You have your doll out, you put it away. Yeah, my brother was bad. So they were running outside, playing hide and go seek. It so happened that it was him and another friend that were the ones that were hiding, and the one that was calling up the numbers, saying 1, 1, 2, and all of a sudden they don't hear him. And they're back there hiding, you know, and they're making fun of him. Hey, you can't find us. Well, they were looking at something that was walking towards them, and it wasn't their friend. It was a lady dressed in white. She wasn't walking, she was floating. And she told them, hey, I found you. And once they saw that, they ran. And my brother ran to my grandma's house. My brother went hiding there in my grandma's house, and she knocked at the door, and my grandma stepped up. She went to the door, and she was asking for Velo, which was my brother's nickname. His name is Alfredo, and they called him Velo. And my grandma told her that he wasn't there. And she went to the house where my mom and dad were and asked for him there, but he wasn't there. And I don't know what happened afterwards. What happened?
So, like, what did this lady look like? She walked up and, like, literally she was floating?
She was floating. She had a white dress on and she was floating.
So how the hell did your grandma manage to talk to this thing
because
that's floating?
What have I always told you? That if you hear, if you see, you are never supposed to be afraid. You have to face them.
On August 23rd, 2013...
I'm absolutely...
Why? What's 2027? There was a guy on here, and I will highlight the video if you want. that it was ex-Navy intelligence. And he said he came across some documents. And what I'm about to say, I believe he has validity, because after he saw these documents, he got out the military and he moved out of the United States. He even had a friend inside the FBI who told him, allegedly, to be out of the United States by 2025. He left in 2024. One key thing he says about the United States and where it is not safe: 100 miles within the coastline, throughout the whole coastline of the United States, east and west and south, and the Mississippi River. Do not be in proximity of that. Now, the minute he said that, and I, again, can direct y'all to this post, he doesn't get paid to say any of this. He isn't on a creator program. He was just giving us information. And a lot of people ask questions. As soon as he said that about the coasts and the Mississippi River, I automatically thought about that Forbes magazine article on the new maps and how water, when we were told to watch the waters in 2020, water would have a direct impact on us. If you know, you know. This map in particular. And look at that. So let me just say, if you're within the water range of any of this, Mississippi River and the coasts, I would be very wary, because what do you think? Why would an ex-naval intelligence officer move out the United States and tell us we have to 2027 and to get away from coasts? You think he's just a crazy person? Use your discernment, piece of the gods.
Ghost story time about the haunted farmhouse I lived in for 5 years. So this was my parents' room. My older brother was in this room way down here, my little brother across from him, and I was the only person on the main floor. So when we first moved in, I was on the main floor by myself. I had like some creepy stuff happen to me, but it wasn't like too bad. Like I would hear scratching at my door in the middle of the night, or sometimes my door handle would turn. I always kept my dog with me, and he would sometimes growl at my door. My brother only lived in the house in this room for about a year, and he moved out and said that he couldn't take it anymore. Now, unfortunately for me, he didn't tell me what was going on up there, so I moved up there and I took his room, and that's when some stuff started happening to me, and I didn't realize had also happened to my brother and caused him to move out. My parents' bedroom right here, there's a bathroom back here. This was the really, really bad energy part of the house. Negative, dark, like if I was upstairs in the middle of the night and I needed to use the bathroom, no way in heck would I ever set foot in that bathroom. I was running downstairs to use the other bathroom, okay? That's how bad it was. So when I took his room, things started happening. Stuff would fall off of my wall in the middle of the night randomly and wake me up. It would do this thing we used to call the breath. Basically, it would sound like someone standing literally right behind you in your ear going, and it did this to all of us at different places in the house at different times. It did that to me the very first time in the middle of the night when I moved up to this room, scared the living out of me, okay? Would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and hear it whispering my name in my ear. For a little while, the visions started. And I say visions because they weren't normal dreams. They were horrifying. One in particular, I had one about that bathroom over here that I said I wouldn't set foot in. I had a dream that I used the bath, looked in the mirror, and there was blood coming out of my eyes, literally going down my face, and I just started screaming, and I woke up screaming. Like I still can't think about it because of how horrible it was. So I started seeing stuff like that, bad stuff in the house. After that happened, I was so scared. My little brother moved his mattress into my room, and he would sleep in my room with me next to me, and he did that for 2 years. And sometimes he would play video games late at night, and he would accidentally fall asleep. If that happened, it would do stuff to me in my room. It would wake me up somehow, scare me somehow. So I didn't realize that happened to my older brother as well, and that's why he moved out. It would have been nice for him to tell me that, right? So that happened, and then I will do another video explaining what happened to my mom in this really bad part of the house because it actually touched her.
Ever get bloated, travel, poor sleep,
This is part 2 about the Green River killings. 18-year-old Marie Silva has just disappeared. She got into a pickup truck with an unknown man, and she never came home. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown. Okay, so 18-year-old Marie Silva was actually involved in sex work, and her boyfriend knew about this. He would actually follow her to make sure that she was safe, or whatever the case may be. Well, she had gotten into a pickup truck with a man to make some money, and her boyfriend followed behind. Well, they came to a stoplight, and by the time that his light turned green, he could not find the pickup truck that she got into, and she simply did not come home, and he knew this was unlike her. She would have came home. So he goes and gets her dad, and him and the father drive around looking for this pickup truck, and after 4 days they find it and they call police. They tell police, like, this is the truck that Marie got into 4 days ago, so you need to go into this house and find my girlfriend. They knock on the door and a man comes out. Seems normal until they look up and down his body, and this man is just covered in scratches. I mean, it looks like he was in a vicious fight. He's like, oh well, I fell, but I mean the scratches are on your arms or on your back. I mean, he's just covered in scratches, like somebody was desperately trying to get away from him. Someone did not want him touching them in a way that they did not like. They have no reason to keep Gary Ridgway. There's just no proof, really, that she was there, that Gary even knew her. I mean, the boyfriend and father are pretty upset because the boyfriend knows this was the truck that she got into, and definitely the truck that she disappeared in. You wanna know what really put the spotlight on Gary Ridgway? Well, he had a sister-in-law. She had not become his sister-in-law yet, though. Her name was Tina Ridgway. She ended up marrying Gary's brother. Well, before that, she was skating on the road, and she was not involved in prostitution. She didn't like to hitchhike. When Gary Ridgway approached her one random day, he actually asked her, like, hey, do you want to ride? She said no. He was really persistent, really tried to pressure her to get in the car, and she's like, no, I'm okay. He did not like this. He was not pleased with the rejection from her. He was quite pissed, actually, according to her. He really wanted her to get in his car. Like, boy, I told you no. Leave me alone. Well, she went over to a payphone to call one of her parents to come pick her up, and 30 minutes later, after she actually left the payphone, a girl she knew by the name of Kimberly Nelson disappeared from that same phone booth. 30 minutes later. At this point, there are actually so many women missing that it's hard to keep count. There's a lot of women missing at this point. Like an actual boogeyman had came over the town, like this large cloud, and it was just wiping out all of the women. They were just disappearing left and right. Well, another woman comes forward, hello, said that a few years prior, she had actually met Gary Ridgway, and he was trying to pick her up. And he was actually known. Police actually find out soon that he was known for picking up prostitutes to have sex. He was picking them up to have sex actually quite often. She said that one random day, Gary picked her up, you know, to buy some, you know what, and he didn't want to have sex in the car. He was persistent, like, I want to do it in the woods. So they went to the woods, and he tried to strangle her to death. He actually lost concentration, though. She said that he, like, looked away and got distracted, and she was able to actually get away. The chilling details in this next part linger in my mind. Desperate for leads, investigators start to interview numerous prostitutes because a lot of the victims that were popping up in or near the Green River and other places were prostitutes. One of these women being Kelly McGinnis. She was a young woman that they had interviewed, and she said that she actually knew a lot of the victims. She told investigators, if the killer tries to approach me, I'll know it's him. They're like, well, how are you gonna know? She's like, you know, I have good insight, I have good intuition. If I think I see the killer, I'll know. I won't get in the car with him, and I'll let you guys know who it is. Sadly, despite her confidence, she did not know because she disappeared and her body was never recovered. She told them that she'd be able to tell. She sadly could not tell. Gary Ridgway's name is coming up a little bit too much for investigators to be comfortable with, and they get a search warrant for his house. It's about to get crazy from here. He was actually married to his third wife, Judith. When they show up, they tell her pretty much what they're thinking, and she's like, no, there's no way he could do this. Like, this is Gary. He's really soft-spoken. She's like, he's such a gentleman. He's so nice. Like, this is my man. Like, he would never, ever, like, I cannot believe you guys are coming here about this. His whole family's defending him, like, not Gary. Like, no, he would not. They actually pick up Gary and take him in, and they give him a lie detector test. He passes the motherfucker. He passes it. The family's like, see, like, that tells you right there, he's innocent. Well, guess what? Ted Bundy passed a lie detector test too, honey. By the time it hit 1990, it had been over 8 years and bodies just kept piling. It kind of just seemed like it was over, almost like the search was over, like they weren't gonna find him. Killer was still loose and bodies were still piling. In the year 2000, Gary was arrested again for buying sex from a prostitute. This time they get a saliva swab from him to try to match it to some of the semen that was found in some earlier victims. It's a match, Gary Ridgway. He's the Green River Killer. It gets so much worse. He actually ends up admitting so much crazy shit. The amount of victims... Wait, just wait. Please go back to his wife's house and tell her, like, he confessed. And she said her heart just completely broke. She just felt so lied to. She felt betrayed and disgusted. She felt so bad for the families. Gary confesses to over 70 victims. They thought there were only like 38 to 40. No, he's like, well, there's like 30 more. Like, so nonchalantly, like, yeah, there's like 70, 71. They're like, what? He made a deal with investigators to take them to multiple bodies of victims that they had not found because, like I said, they had found a lot of dead girls, but they had also had a lot that were missing that they knew were probably tied to the Green River Killer. And he was like, okay, well, I'll tell you. What was so crazy is because there were girls that they didn't even know were missing that he confessed to. He was just like, yeah, there's this girl named this, there's this girl named that. They're like, Like, these are girls we didn't even know about. They asked Gary why he did it, and he just blatantly said that he hated that women had control over him. He said he felt like a wimp. Those are his exact words. He said, I feel like a wimp. He said, when I kill, I feel like I have control. I think this just really stems from him being a pussy, I guess. Like, he didn't have the guts to, like, talk to girls really much. Like, he was just so shy, and he hated that. Like, he just hated that he didn't have the confidence to, like, talk to girls. So, I mean, I guess he was just like, okay, I'm gonna kill them, then I feel strong now. I don't fucking know. Weird as shit. He also would go back to the victims after they had been dead for weeks and would re-penetrate and do them again.
Yeah,
I don't have time. Kira Christensen actually wasn't a prostitute at all. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was just about to turn 22 when she disappeared. She was later found propped up against something by a family that was hunting for mushrooms. She had her hands like this, with a pile of sausages on top of them, with a sack over her head and fish laid all over her. The killer obviously did this as pleasure. He thought this was funny. I'm just gonna take a minute and put all of the victims right here because I want you guys to know every single victim that lost their life to this little sack of poop. We need to ensure that these tragedies are never forgotten. Rest in peace, beautiful women. Anyways, Gary, you're a coward. You're a little bitch. And that was it. I love you guys. Thank you guys for joining me in another crime case. I'll see you in the next one.
I shot LiDAR AI photon protein fiber beams at Devil's Tower, and you.
Okay, so Team Rogue or Team Stump. I am Team Stump. I think that is the fossilized remains of a giant tree from back in the day.
You're not
That's
going
what
to
he has to say.
believe what is inside it. It changes the whole history of not only America, but the world. Devil's Tower is in Wyoming, and it's a structural edge that's mysterious because I'm an Eagle Scout, and if you look at the rock formation edge, I don't think it's solid, and a lot of people are like, it's solid all the way through. So I, with my friend Dr. Remy Demi, shot the world's best, this is it right here, photon protein fiber beam AI LiDAR technology directly at Devil's Tower, and this is the imagery it came back.
goodness.
There are chambers inside the base of Devil's Tower with, you can see a passage right there. Here's another angle of it, of another view, and it's just insane. It's blowing our minds. We don't know if this is a Native American chamber, if it's an alien chamber. So now we're trying to get access to that passageway. We know the door is amongst about right there, but we are trying to get permits so we can dig down and access the door and go into the chambers. I'll keep you updated. Follow me and I'll keep you updated on what we find. We hope to get the permits next week, and I'm just super excited to go in and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my friend's dad, man. He was a cop back in the 80s, right? He was a cop back in the 80s, so he's an older dude, man. And I asked him, I was like, well, sir, do you believe in ghosts and spirits and stuff? And he was sitting there smoking. He's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And my buddy, he's like, what I tell you, man, my dad ain't no fucking dumbass. My dad ain't no pussy. And I was like, man, chill, bro. And his dad's like, but I believe in demons. And I looked at my friend, I was like, shit, what I tell you, bro? And his dad was like, shit. After what I saw back in the early 90s, I knew they exist. I've known they exist. That's why you guys got to get close to God. And he told us, like, that's why you got to get close to God. And I asked him, I was like, well, sir, if you don't mind me asking, could you share that story with us? Like, what happened? And he said, yeah. He's like, I've told Trey about it, because that's my buddy's name. He's like, but he thinks I'm just bullshitting. And I was like, what is it? Like, what happened? He starts telling us, he's like, well, you know, we had gotten a call for a domestic case. There was something happening where a couple was fighting. We get the call. My buddy and I get, receive the call. We go to the residence. It's in the woods, New Jersey. And we're like, oh shit, okay. Well, we drive in, it's a long dirt road. As we're driving in, you could just tell something's off. We had gotten a report from the person that they were playing the Ouija board. And they believed something was wrong. So when we went in, we thought it was just drugs. We thought it was alcohol, a mixture of those two. Well, we're going to knock on the residence in the house. We don't hear anything at all. Finally, we hear like a snarl, like a growl. My buddy and I look at each other. We take our, holster our weapons. We're thinking it's a bear. Well, we hear something running from the side of the house. We look over and we point our pistols, flashlight. It's a man.
I'm in one of the most dangerous places in the entire world. In fact, it's the most common place for women to go missing.
I can't believe they just cut us off.
the trek of Interstate 40, also known as I-40. I'm about to show y'all why it's so dangerous and why you should never pull over to help anybody on the side of the road or stop to ask if everything's okay. Right now I'm on the side of the interstate, just like somebody else would do if they were posing that they needed help. I don't really need help. I'm just doing this for this video. But somebody who's a predator can pull over and pretend like they need some help. And look how dark it is right here. That's my headlights fully on. If you get drugged 20 feet off the road, you're in those woods right there. You know when the last time somebody's walked those woods is? The answer is probably never. That's government owned. No one goes in there. If your body goes in, no one's finding it. The FBI believes there's currently over 500 serial killers using I-40 as its hunting grounds. It's believed that over 100 of them are truck drivers. Truck drivers is believed to be the most common profession to house serial killers because of how long they're away from their families, how much of their time is unaccounted for, and how much they're on these easily accessible roads to be gone forever. Look at this. I'm on the side of the interstate, and if I scream, no one's coming to help. No one can hear you, and if they do, no one cares. Now, the reason why I picked this spot on the interstate to show you where a predator would hide at is because there's no cell phone service here. If you pulled over and helped me and I started attacking you, you can't call for help. It's also the perfect reason why I can ask you to come closer for help. I can say, hey, please take my card and go get some gas. I ran out of gas here and I have no cell phone service. I can't call AAA. I can't call anybody for help. When you come over to collect that money from me, you're gone. I-40 is also believed to be the home of the biggest sex trafficking hub in the Northern American continent. It is a humongous problem. All these exits that go off of I-40, you can be gone within seconds. I live in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has the highest percentage of unsolved missing people cases across the whole country, most of which are Native American women between the ages of 18 and 35. I'm making this video to hopefully help awareness because the amount of missing women that happens all across the country, but especially here in Oklahoma, is astonishing. Now, where I stopped at tonight was a place in Arkansas. There is about a 30...
Oh my gosh, I want to hear more, but I can't. We don't have time for that. But thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It was awesome hanging out with you and sharing these videos. I'm saying mind-blowing, trippy, holy shnikes, what's going on in the world today, but thank you to all of my friends out there, wherever you may be listening, beyond the omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm gonna say Wednesday, hump day. That's my birthday. That'd be awesome to do some sort of show on that day. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together, we can make the world a bit better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. If you have the means, ability, or initiative, if you believe in what I'm doing here, you just enjoy hanging out with me on the airwaves, sling or fling some green my way, and it would really help to keep this mothership afloat. Places you can donate are P.O. Box 663, Bayfield, Colorado 81122, $TessaTNT for a Cash App, PayPal at TessaTNT, and Venmo at Tessa-Thomas-Peterson.